Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show. Our very own Will Cooper and first down Vaughn Brown joining you right up until kickoff here tonight. It's Etowah and Creekview here as we bring you another edition of the Cherokee County Game of the Week. 2 minutes, and then the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show right here on North Georgia's 101.1 FM WLJA.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman, but she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Hi, I'm Dave Garner.
And I'm Janet Mueller.
And we're your local Woodman Life representatives.
You know, Dave, it must be tough announcing games and still providing financial security through life insurance, retirement, and member benefits.
Well, Janet, it's an honor, but it means that I have a great partner when it comes to protecting families from financial hardship.
So come see us.
Or call us at 706-273-9347.
Or 770-894-7898.
And find out how Woodman Life can help you leave memories, not expenses. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Welcome to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show. We are here at the Eagles Nest in Woodstock, Georgia. I'm your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside my good friend, first down, touchdown, Vaughn Brown, now being named as such. Shout out to Patrick over there with the Cherokee Tribune on the side. Big friend of ours. He does a great job helping us keep our job and life easy. Go over and check out his stuff. But, Vaughn, welcome into the broadcast. You know, obviously we're going to talk about some of the games going around. This is our first full Friday. So a lot of people didn't think we'd get here, but we were already on the air on Wednesday, and we were there for the Cherokee-Carver game and the Corky-Kell. Cherokee came out on top, 38-12 in that one. I know you had a chance to talk with the coach over there, Coach Shaw. Tell us a little bit about what he's feeling about and moving ahead to next week.
You know, he felt good. You come out of that game and, banged up a little bit. There were some concerns, obviously, but all of that looks like it's going to be okay. They're still healthy. One of the questions we had for him last night on the Football Fridays at the Tavern podcast was just around the defense, and I think that was one of the keys going in was, are they going to pick up where they left off? That Coach Harvey defense, they could have shut Carver out. Carver, a pretty strong athletic team. They could have shut him out, and so we asked him what he thought compared to, 2019, how this defense looked. And he thinks they're ahead of where that 2019 defense was. They're not, that defensive line is not super big, but they are going to bring Nathan Simmons in when they need to, and somebody's trying to run it down their throat. But they're quick, and they're aggressive to the football. So he felt really good about where that defense is at this point in the season. And we're still very early, obviously.
Right, you're exactly right. Like I said, they came out 38-12. Carver put up 2 touchdowns late. They couldn't attempt any extra points because of a lack of kicking game, so 2 of those 2-point conversion attempts failed. Moving on down the list, we have 2 other county games going on. Obviously, we're here for the Etowah and Creekview game. We'll come back to that later in the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. But Woodstock and Sequoia and River Ridge at Lassiter. So we'll start with the other intercounty matchup, Woodstock at Sequoia. The series tied 4-4 overall. Woodstock won the last time they played in 2017. They won 27-16. A lot of changes for both of these teams coming in. Vaughn, what have you heard and what are you feeling about that game?
Yeah, you've got a situation over there at Skip Pope Stadium tonight where they're both searching for that quarterback, that go-to quarterback. I think we'll talk about River Ridge in a minute, but they've got a little advantage because he knows his guys, Carson Latham. Woodstock and Sequoia are still searching. So I think the fans, the parents, everybody's the interest they're going to be looking at is, how are they managing that? I think Brent Buddy, Coach Buddy, what he's dealt with maybe the last 2 years, he's really, I think, going to be looking early on to see who he can find that confidence in, who can move the ball consistently for them. But, that's all eyes are going to be on that quarterback situation for both teams over at Skip Pope tonight.
Right you are, and Cal Preps for them has Sequoia at a +4, and the friends at the Turd Ferguson report, Arthur Mosley has Woodstock ahead by a touchdown in that one. So a little bit split on that decision, just as our crew is as well, but we'll come back to that later in the broadcast. But as you mentioned, River Ridge, a lot of excitement coming out of that camp right now. Amir Morrison returning for his junior season. New quarterback Carson Latham coming up there, and Jackson Head, the big tight end who made the burst onto the scene in the basketball situation there. So obviously, look, going ahead, this is a good program that we feel like will have a chance to beat their first inter-county team. But for tonight, they're looking to take care of issues with Lassiter.
Yeah, I mean, Lassiter, second-year head coach, Coach Tome over there, 1-9 the last 2 seasons. We got to interview Coach Collins in person last night, and, we always say it when he walks out, but, we're ready to strap the chin straps on and go run over somebody. He gives you that confidence, and I'm sure he's portraying that to his team. They've haven't been a dynasty by any means, but there's a feeling of momentum over there, and you named a couple kids that are difference makers. And then you got maybe the biggest difference maker in the county in Amir Morrison. So, and then Riley Kane's a tight end, and Preston Cox a wide receiver that can help them as well. So they have more weapons. I think the question is going to be how balanced can they be and not have to depend on Amir Morrison all game, every game, and wear him down. But I think if you see River Ridge come out and they can, with Carson Latham running, throwing, and then Amir, and you find them get some balance early in the year, they're going to be a dangerous team because they bring enough back on defense, and they had such a defensive improvement from 18 to 19. So really what I'm looking for over there is what can they hold Lassiter to? Can they hold them under 20 points? And I think if they do, they've got a great chance to win that game.
Right you are. Cal Preps has River Ridge at a +7, and Arthur Mosley has River Ridge at a +8. So a good feeling from a lot of people over there that River Ridge is probably a possession better than Lassiter moving forward. And watch for River Ridge to really try and improve this season. That's the big thing I would say is that they improved. They were 3-7 last year. Couldn't pick up that county win, but they played Creekview, a team that we'll see tonight, extremely close. Came down to a play right at the goal line. And then, obviously, they played Sequoia incredibly close as well. So I'm really looking for them to take a big step into that new region as well, just as Creekview's going into as well.
Yeah, they're on the verge. They really are on the verge. And I think if they find that consistency on offense, they're going to be a dangerous team in that region.
Right you are. And the last game that we'll talk about before we send it back to break and we set up the game here, Gilmer and Pickens, a game that's going on just up the road, the Battle of 5-15. The Gilmer Bobcats coming off their season with the first win they've had in 3 seasons. And that is all thanks to Coach Saunders up there coming over from Pebblebrook, making things happen over there. They've played each year since 1957, and this will surprise a lot of people. Gilmer has the all-time winning record as they have a 39-28 advantage in wins to losses. Gilmer dropped to 3A this past season. Pickens stayed in 4A. Pickens is very young, losing starting quarterback C.J. Stryker. Still remains to be seen, although some words have been around that the starting quarterback will be C.J. Stryker's youngest brother, who's a freshman. Cal Preps has Pickens at a +14, so a lot of people feel like Pickens will still be the favorite in this one, but a lot of rumblings going on that there could be an upset over at Dragon Stadium this afternoon. And once again, Coach Saunders and Nelson are both going there. So for our friends listening up in Jasper and LJ, we will be keeping a close eye on that game for you as well. We're going to go ahead and take our first 2-minute break, and we'll be back right here on WLJA. You're listening to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. 2 minutes, and we'll be back.
When you are the official sponsor of the comeback, adding a few feet to a drive matters.
First down.
So does shaving 1/10 of a second off a lap. Top-rated surgery, physical therapy, and motion analysis by the sports medicine team at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta helps young athletes not only prevent injuries, but heal faster and return stronger, ready to win. Our more than 25 orthopedic and sports medicine locations are ready to assist your athlete's comeback. To learn more, visit choa.org/sportsmed.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
And now here's a message from Canton Tire and Wheel in Canton.
Canton Tire and Wheel, Canton Tire and Wheel. We've got great tires and we've got great deals.
I'm Cooper.
And I'm Caden. We're Mr. Danny's grandsons. We're working the jingle now for Canton Tire and Wheel. They take care of all your automotive service needs. Be sure to tell Mr. Steve and my poppy you heard us on the radio next time you call Canton Tire and Wheel at 770-479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Canton Tire and Wheel.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID, everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet, we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the Furniture Store in Akron, Hiram, and Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here at Woodstock, Georgia. It's a cool 86 degrees. Who am I kidding? It's hot. It's hot and humid. Not as bad as it was on Cherokee. The game time temperature at Cherokee was about 90 degrees, but the humidity's that same 50%. But let's face it, it's the end of summer, going towards the end of summer in Georgia. We've got the Georgia sun beating down on us for the moment. But the good news is this game is 2 hours later than the Corky Kell game, so hopefully by the time that we're wrapping up, we'll have a little bit of relief from the sun. But once again, you're listening to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. I'm your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside Touchdown Von Brown, and we will have the diamond voice of the broadcast, the golden voice as well, Dave Garner, joining us later in the broadcast to help me do the game. But for right now, we want to send you down to the field because we're getting ready to do the presentation of the colors by the Etowah Band as well as the Etowah Color Guard for their ROTC program. They're getting ready to take the field. We'll send you down.
Please give a huge round of applause for our senior athlete, Jason Good evening, everyone.
We'll sit you down there in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and take it back here. It looks like it's senior night, which is kind of odd for this early in the season, but it seems like a lot of the high schools are trying to get their presentations in early. So congratulations to all the Etowah seniors here honored tonight, as well as all the seniors around our great county. Obviously, we didn't expect to have a season for a long time, and then it happened. So we mentioned this a lot on Wednesday's program, but we want to say a big thank you to Dr. Hightower, Mark Murgis, as well as Tanya Sebring for allowing us to be here, as well as Athletic Director Ken Nix, making this possible for us. We're up here in a comfortable situation up on the platform right next to the press box here at Etowah, so we thank them for being so hospitable to us and allowing us to be part of their program for this week. And, of course, this isn't the only time that we'll be with Etowah. We will be back later in the season. We would be remiss if we did not catch the Battle of Town Lake. Of course, that we'll be back. You know, they're playing River Ridge, which we normally schedule River Ridge on the schedule to play Etowah. We really like that matchup. A 6A, 7A kind of crossover that still remains to be a very good thing. So once again, if you do attend a Cherokee County function, it is not required for masks. So we see, looking around the stands here, there's probably 25% of people that have a mask on. Of course, attendance is limited to only 25% capacity. The big surprise to me is that it looks like down to my left-hand side, there's a good little student section down there. You hear the cowbells coming in through the field mic. and got them going. The cheerleaders are down on the field. Very similar to the other Wednesday night, if you look down to the right, the Etowah band down there getting ready to play the colors of the national anthem down there. And Creekview has a pretty good crowd with them, don't they, Vaughn?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't know what the capacity, I'm assuming close to 190, similar to Cherokee the other night.
Probably.
Looks like they're going to fill that out, and they are in the shade already, so they're loving life over there.
Yeah, we talked about this. It seems like Cherokee County schools, except for Creekview, aren't totally sure about how to put the home side not facing the sun. That's supposed to be an advantage in your own home field.
Yeah.
But now the clock has started, so we are down within 15 minutes over on the left-hand scoreboard. If you've never been to the Eagles Nest, it's really a neat stadium. You have the left-hand side. You can see the highway, or more accurately, Eagle Drive on this side. Down it's Town Lake Parkway to the other side. You can see that across to your left-hand side. On the right-hand side, a nice video board for presentations as well, but also a smaller scoreboard, which, as most people know, Dave was over at Etowah during some of his football career. I'm sure that was most likely there during that time. So now we are going to go down to the field for now, because we are going to send you to the presentation of colors. They're making a quick announcement about masks and those kind of things, so we appreciate everybody being with us. And get ready for the presentation of colors performed by the Etowah Eagles Marching Band.
As we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
The Etowah Marching Eagles performing the colors for us here. Once again, thank you for joining us on the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. We are here for a showdown between the Creekview Grizzlies with the best winning percentage in all of the county and the Etowah Eagles, who have the longest playoff streak, being to the playoffs since 2012. I'm Will Cooper, and I'm joined alongside my good friend Touchdown Vaughn Brown, and he's going to tell you more about the stats for these teams. Vaughn, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, looked up the season openers over the last 10 years, 2010 to present, Etowah in season opening game 9-1. Creekview not far behind, 7-3 in their season opening game. So, if you want to look at it like that, there's you a little hint and tip and trick of who to take, but you never know. We've talked about this game a lot leading up, right? And I think the one consistency, and I've talked to a lot of people this week about their thoughts from both programs. The one consistency, Creekview, and the advantage Creekview has in a shortened no spring, shortened summer, Brody Rhodes. And, they're very comfortable with him and where he's at, and he's been a household name in Cherokee County for a lot of years now. And that is a huge advantage, especially on the other side with Matt Kemper, first-year coach, and trying to install what he did at Roswell. That's not an easy thing, Will.
No, absolutely not. And that's the thing is that, we were able to watch the Roswell Hornets last season. Larry and I had the call for this Etowah team when they traveled down to Roswell to play them. A really rough game for the Eagles, and one that really kind of put them in a closed box where they had to take the 4th seed and later go to East Coweta and eventually drop that game in a heartbreaker. But looking back on that Roswell game, Matt Kemper's offense is not simple at all. There's a lot of movement, a lot of pre-snap movement, but one of the big things that we'll talk about, and I know we're both excited to see him play tonight, and that's Remington Adams. He's had a lot of attention paid to him. Miami of Ohio have him on one of their top 2022 prospects, as well as Akron. They both announced that today. So there's a lot of attention being paid to that young man, and for good reason. He's slightly smaller, about 5'8", 160 on a good day, if you want to even call it that. But he is a dangerous man in space, and that's what Coach Kemper is going to try to get to.
Yeah, and they're going to move him around a little bit more. I mean, Etowah last year, Savella was using him mostly at running back, and he's not a Keith Adams Jr. type or a Clivert Mini type. Keith Adams Jr. is going and hunting people. Remington Adams going to try to run away from him. So Coach Kemper is going to get him out in space. Like you said, a little bit of a complex offense. How much have they picked it up with two new quarterbacks vying for that starting spot? And I think that's one of the big questions, right, is Braden Bohannon and Will Curcio. We watched them warm up. Couldn't really tell who had the advantage there. I think we're going to see both of them tonight. Can Kemper settle on somebody? Is one of them moving the ball a little bit better than the other? But I think, to me, as I look at this game more and more, Etowah, and I know it's early, there's a little advantage in having a new coach and a new system and new offense, especially with some of the athletes and household names they have as well. But I think they're underrated. Honestly, I think they're not getting enough respect. And I think Matt Kemper, I think he's a great coach, and I think Cherokee County's going to figure that out pretty quickly. Yeah,
you mentioned Coach Kemper. I mean, he is a great coach, having 4 division titles under his name, but he's also got a 71-57 overall record as a coach with a .555 winning percentage, so that's pretty darn good. He came from Roswell, Pope, and Johns Creek in that order, so he's got a good pedigree of winning, especially he was the first Roswell coach to be hired not within the Roswell system since 1957. So really a big metric for him as a coach, and you can tell that he's going to be ready to have these guys played. And one thing I'm really excited to see is that both of these guys last year were listed as running backs on the depth chart. So now knowing that, you have to wonder how much are they going to rely on them for the run.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I look at, and the other thing we got to think about is when we saw it the other night in the Wednesday game in the heat, and it was a little bit earlier, but fatigue and stamina became a big deal in the second half of that game. There's not a huge, there's this 7A Etowah, 6A Creekview. There's not a huge numbers difference. Etowah's got 81 on their roster. Creekview's got 68. But it feels like when you look at them warm up, Etowah may be able to run a couple more kids in there, a couple more kids than Creekview even, just looking at the size of the teams. And that could be a difference maker in this game when you get into that second half and trying to get your game wind underneath you.
Well, Vaughn, a lot of people know that they paid attention to last game, that your prediction was almost spot on. And I'm not going to ask you about your prediction for this game, but also your 3 keys from last game were spot on. So tell us your 3 keys for this game, whether you want to make it about Etowah or Creekview, or if you want to give us both.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go from 3 to 4. Since we got 2 in-county teams, I'm going to give you 2 each, okay? Brody Rhodes, number 14, quarterback, household name in Cherokee County. He was their leading rusher last year. I don't think Trevor Williams wants that again. And we talked earlier before the telecast. It was bounced around a lot between Ethan Durham, who has gone and graduated, Tyler Stevens, Hayden Thompson. They had a lot of different guys with carries last year, but at the end of the day, Brody, who can run, and definitely they want to use him as that. I don't think they want him to be their leading rusher. So the first key of the game, when we get to halftime, is Brody Rhodes the leading rusher for Creekview at that point, or is Tyler Stevens somebody else taking some of that workload? Because I think Trevor, one thing he wants to do is establish a true run game. Like you said, they've got a small offensive line, so can they do that against Etowah? If not, they may have some trouble. So that first key is Brody Rhodes. Is he having to be their leading rusher again, or can he sit back and throw? The other one for Creekview, and then I'll give you the 2 Etowah, everybody knows Andrew Cloy, big, tall receiver, probably their best receiver. Remember the name Dawson Curry? I know we know it already, but that's a sure-handed kid, had a broken hand last year, so he missed a lot of that season, but he can take a lot of that pressure off of Andrew Cloy. So I would not be surprised tonight if he may be their leading receiver, maybe even leading in touchdowns tonight. So keep a listen on what Dawson Curry does tonight, and that could tell you the outcome of this game. For Etowah, obviously, it's the number 5 Braden Bohannon, number 14 Will Curcio. How quickly and how does Coach Kemper manage that situation throughout this game? If he settles on somebody early, we'll see. So keep an eye on that, and I know we all will. The other one, number 68, Tate Nelms. He's a freshman, okay? Number 68, Tate Nelms. I watched him warm up a little bit. Kemper thinks he has a chance to be one of the more special offensive linemen to come through here, and as we know, they've had a lot of them. So keep an eye on him. If they're running behind true freshman Tate Nelms, you've got a beast on your hand, and he's a good-sized kid. So that's 4 things you can kind of keep an eye on tonight.
Well, to mention on that last one, you're exactly right on the last part there. You look at this line here, Jake Putnam. He's the long snapper. Everybody knows him, 4.5-star long snapper. Has never had a start on the offensive line. Jaden Field never had a start on the offensive line. He's a senior, 6', 240. Camden McQuaid, sophomore, 5'10", 200 pounds. He'll be your center. Never had a start on the offensive line. Carter Reed Metcalf, senior, 5'11", 220. Never had a start on the offensive line at right guard. And Tate Nelms, the right tackle, a freshman, 6'4", 250 pounds. That is a big young man. That's just a lot of young man right there, and this is coming from somebody who is 5'8" and 150 pounds, soaking wet.
Soaking wet.
We're going to go ahead and take our final break here in the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. When we come back, we'll bring back Dave Garner in with us and getting us ready for kickoff. Thank you for being with us. I've been Will Cooper and downtown Von Brown. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman. But she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Hi, it's Dave Garner, voice of the Cherokee County Game of the Week. But did you know I'm also your local Woodman Life representative and poverty prevention specialist? For over 130 years, Woodman Life has protected families with life insurance and retirement products. And as your local agent, I want to make sure that your money outlives you and that you don't outlive your money. Call or text me at 706-273-9347 or visit my Facebook page at Dave Garner Woodman Life to learn how I can help you or your loved ones today. Insurance protection, financial security, Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
The #1 magazine to read is Enjoy Cherokee. This beautiful full-color seasonal publication keeps you in the know with articles about interesting people, fun events, hot restaurants, and cool ideas. Enjoy Cherokee is for busy people who enjoy a lifestyle magazine worth reading and keeping. You'll find Enjoy Cherokee available at most high-traffic locations and mailed free to homes throughout Cherokee County. Join the thousands who don't miss a single issue. Follow us on Facebook and find issues on enjoycherokee.com. Ask for a free publication and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here in Woodstock, Georgia. The captains are headed out for the coin toss. Of course, there will be no pre-handshake, and there's only one captain for each team going out to represent them. And there's a light tap on the shoulder pad, but there will be no physical contact. Looks like Brody Rose is out there representing your Creekview Grizzlies, and as well as number 32 for your Eagles. I don't see him listed on my chart here.
Lane Cantrell.
Lane Cantrell, There you go, linebacker. So very cool middle linebacker for him, senior, 6', 190. I'm sure we'll be calling his name a lot. Those two probably will make contact at some point in this game. Welcoming back into the broadcast booth, my good friend, the golden voice of the broadcast, Diamond Dave Garner. Dave, welcome back to another exciting night of football.
Hey, man, good to be working with the Golden Boy up here tonight. See, I got that nickname in there. You know, he was giving me a hard time about. You gave me such a hard time on Wednesday night, man. I'm flipping the script tonight, man.
Well,
we're going to be all over you. But no, I'm looking forward to it. As you mentioned earlier, you know, we're just under 85 degrees here at kickoff. We've got now we're going to have to settle on a name eventually. We've got Downtown Brown, First Brown. First down Brown and touchdown. But I think the consensus and Patrick O'Shea from the Tribune, man, he's like, what about touchdown? I mean, that's
like touchdown,
more meaningful.
Brown.
So I think we're going to have to try to settle on maybe on touchdown Von Brown here
what
tonight.
Think, Von?
Let's see how accurate I am tonight and some of my predictions.
You got to earn that.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to earn the touchdown.
You got to earn. I think if I have a decent night tonight, then we can go touchdown.
Yeah,
I agree.
If you missed it on Wednesday, you should have been there. Vaughn, for some reason, was in his special teams bag, predicting fake punts, onside kicks. I mean, the guy was just on top of it. He's got a few Power 5 offers to come be a special teams coordinator, but I think he's turned those all down to be a part of the WLJA broadcast team. You're hearing the Etowah Eagles burst onto the field, American flag and Georgia flag flying high. A good crowd here at the Eagles Nest, Dave. Surprised, we kind of figured Etowah would probably have one of the larger capacities, but it's actually quite full.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know it that it was really a whole lot different than a typical Friday night of high school football, and I think that's what a lot of folks around the state of Georgia were hoping for. Of course, a lot of other games going on. We left off with the Corky Kell on Wednesday. There were some couple of games last night that were really good, and then, of course, another round tonight and tomorrow. But everyone else basically, playing around the state. And you got a lot of marquee matchups. We talked about Gilmer Pickens just up the road here tonight at Dragon Stadium. We're going to keep our eyes on that one, and we're going to do the best job we can of throwing scores at you guys from the other games to keep you updated.
Right you are, and that's we're so glad to have Von Brown, a touchdown Von Brown, as we mentioned. He does such a good job over there at Cedarwood Tavern helping us keep everything all together. So we are so thankful to have him as part of our broadcast team. Want to send a special thank you to Ronnie Cooper. He was with us spotting for us last time. Not able to be here today, buddy. Hope you have a great time on your trip. Thank you to everybody listening and choosing to join us. And for you Braves fans, once again, we do apologize. We promise we will keep you updated on the Braves score as well, the doubleheader with the Washington Nationals. And if we have time after the game, we can't promise you that we'll be able to throw you back. They might already be wrapped up with the 7-inning games, but if we have time, we will, of course, keep you updated over there. Other county games going on around the league. You're going to have the Sequoia Chiefs hosting the Woodstock Wolverines, the River Edge Knights visiting the Lassiter Trojans, and the Gilmer Bobcats going down to Pickens Stadium to battle the Pickens Dragons. We're set for kickoff here. It looks like the Eagles will be kicking it off to the Creekview Grizzlies. Etowah in their blue uniforms, white hats with a new Eagle-style wing on the helmet, if you will. Kind of tan pants, most of them wearing white shirts and high socks up there. And your place kicker is Carson Allen. A lot of people may know of him. 4.5-star, number 1 place kicker in the state of Georgia, as well as number 5 in the entire nation for the class of 2023. So a lot of people excited to see him, and we are set for kickoff. You hear the opening whistle, flags waving, band up on their feet, and here we go. Toe meets leather, and it's the first Friday night football game in the Georgia high school. And it's taken in the end zone. A good catch and try by the return out there by Andrew Cloy. And we are back, and we are set for the game. Vaughn, what do you have for us?
We got an update already from
right.
Lassiter. We got our first update coming in, and thanks to the River Ridge folks for keeping us updated. First play of the game, Amir Morrison, 73-yard touchdown from scrimmage. 2-point conversion by Scotty Rutherford. Good. Knights up 8-0 very early in that game.
8-0 early. All right. Exciting stuff, guys, for sure, getting started here. The Creekview offense will be set to take the field with a name you may know, Brody Rhodes at quarterback. Tons of offers, Army, Citadel, Kennesaw State, just to name a few. And here we go. Bunch formation on the left-hand side. I formation. He's under center, something we don't see very often. It's a turnaround and it's a handoff all the way, a good-sized hole, and he barrels for about a gain of, let's call it 5. And it will move from the 20 to the 25-yard line and set up a 2nd and 5, Dave.
Well, one of the biggest things we're going to watch this year, particularly for this Creekview offense, is being able to replace the production of Ethan Durham. I mean, he was a guy you could line up all over the field, quarterback, receiver, running back, you name it. Taking him out of there, you lose a lot of offense, so they're really going to rely on guys like Tyler Stevens to step up this year and, like Vaughn said, establish that run game.
So here we go, pistol formation this time. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end in the formation. It's a handoff again to the left-hand side. A good hole. He's got a first down and tripped up out over the 40, let's call it the 35-yard line heading into 45.
Well, just an explosive run. They're running off that left side there. And, again, the Grizzlies, as we talked about, wasted no time trying to establish that ground game using that offensive line that's not very big. I mean, you and I talked about that this is not a huge Creekview line, but they move well. A lot of traps up front there. These guys like to get out of that stance and go attack somebody.
You're right, you are. I formation yet again. We'll go over the offensive line in just a moment. Bunch formation, splits 1 man out. I formation again, turns around. It's a nice handoff. Not much doing that time, but he falls forward for another gain of 5. And not a bad gain, Dave. It looks like Creekview's being able to move the ball effectively so far.
Well, they really like the left side of that offensive line, and maybe they've discovered a little bit of a weakness on the Etowah front. They have run 3 straight plays right off of guard over the left side there. And they found something. They're getting 5-6 yards a pop right now.
Well, they are running it off the left tackle, Anthony Dorr, senior 6'2", 245, a couple of offers, and running it towards Tim Jones, the senior 5'11", 185 out there on the side. Pistol formation, 3 wide receivers. Brody turns around and fakes the handoff. He's going to keep it himself. Only a gain of a yard. Bring up 3rd and 4 for the Grizzlies. A little extracurriculars going on as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be the matchup here tonight, the physicality of this Etowah defense. We've seen these guys under second-year defensive coordinator Dan Devine, who, of course, Dan Devine is a old football coach, from years ago, and this coach Devine here brings a lot of that same mentality that the old Green Bay Packer and Notre Dame coach Dan Devine had, of course, years ago. But, the second-year group under Coach Devine is really trying to come together. None of these teams had an offseason. That's the thing, so there's a lot of question marks coming in.
Grizzlies, a real pro-style offense. Empty setback this time. 5 wide receivers spread out, 1 tight end on the formation. Brody takes the snap. It's a pass all the way, and he completes it out to the middle. It looks like it was intended for A.J. Vaccaro, but called incomplete. So incomplete. The pass was intended for A.J. Vaccaro, the junior, listed 6'1", 185, and Rhodes' first pass of the game is incomplete. Bring up a 4th and 4. Ball on the Grizzlies' own 41-yard line, and the offense is staying on the field for the moment.
Yeah, offensive coordinator Jake Martin got away from the run there a little bit. They had 3 successful plays over off a tackle and off the left side there. And, the one thing is you don't want to get too cute, early on there. You got something that's working, stick with it, make the other team stop you right there. And this drive has stalled here a little bit. Quarterback keeper only gets you a yard, and now all of a sudden Etowah's defense tighten it up right here.
Single back receiver set. Watch for an ADO, as our friend Coach Larry Prather would say. Attempt to draw off sides, and they do. They get it. And the Etowah Eagles jump off sides, and that'll be an automatic first down. Call it like you see it. And first down, Creekview. Dave?
Well, you got to be disciplined in that situation. You kind of knew it was coming. Ball on your own 40-yard line this early in the game. I find it hard to believe that Creekview would have actually snapped that football. Etowah, you've got to be disciplined up front. You got to make sure they snap that football without coming across. A good hard count there by the experienced quarterback, Brody Rhodes.
Right you are. And once again, this Etowah team under new head coach Matt Kemper, so incredibly young. If you're just joining us, we're still in the first quarter, no score. Creekview has the ball moving right now on their own 46-yard line, getting ready to go into Etowah territory. Turned around, handoff all the way. A good run, a gain of about 3 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7. And in the body, it's hard to see who was on the carry there, and it looks like that is A.J. Vaccaro again.
Yeah, Vaccaro, they really want to get him established early in this ball game, as Vaughn talked about. Who's going to be the leading rusher, at halftime? Who are we going to be talking about? Tyler Stevens, A.J. Vaccaro. They've got the horses on that side to establish a run game, and I would expect that, they're going to try to lull Etowah to sleep here, get some of these guys peeking into the backfield with all these running plays, and then, boom, Brody hits you over the top if you're not careful.
2nd and 7, ball just on this side of the formation, 49-yard line. Rhodes sends a man in motion, gets the ball back, low snap but handled. A big hole up the middle, but a good tackle, and it'll be a gain of about 3 yards there. And that was number 18 on the carry, it appears.
Yeah, Dawson Curry getting the carry out of the backfield. And, going to move some guys around. We've seen Curry. We've seen some of these guys with big plays as receivers, lining them up all over the field. Multiple looks here offensively. Etowah, meanwhile, kind of breaking it down, 3-4 with pressure off the edges. Almost a 5-2 look, really. But the deep guy is the free safety about 10, 12 yards back off the line. Other than that, there's 9 or 10 guys within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 3 here, bunch formation. Turned around, handoff yet again. Big hole, look out. He's still running. Cut down finally. That was number 15 on the carry. Tyler Stevens, the junior from last season.
Nothing says we're trying to establish the run like Creekview jumping into an I formation early. And, Dave, you called it. It's like, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And they kind of tried to get a little cute there, but they're back at it right now and pounding it down their throat.
Well, I think Coach Williams may have called up to the box there and said, hey, let's run that football like we did on those first 3 plays. And Creekview has responded right here, just methodically moving the football here on this opening drive.
Once again, almost a victory formation with 3 men in the backfield. 1 wide receiver split out. This time it's a handoff to the left side. Stevens again on the carry. He's got a little bit of a hole. Makes contact with number 3 for the defense, Brock Rechsteiner, the big senior, 6'3", 210 pounds, coming up from his safety position to make the tackle.
Yeah, first time we've seen that, outside zone run play there. They've pretty much run between the tackles so far here on this opening drive. Creekview has. That time, though, they sprint outside. Etowah unable to set the edge, held him to a 4-yard gain, but still good yardage on first down.
Braden Bohannon on the Etowah sideline warming up the arm, getting ready for his first series. But first, it's Rhodes under control. 5 wide receivers split out now. A.J. Vaccaro, the one man in the backfield. It's a pass all the way once again. Turned around, a slant, intercepted right over the middle, and he's going to carry it. He's going backwards on the return, and he's brought down at the original line of scrimmage. That was Carlos Thornton, the senior, coming up from his safety position. Senior, 5'8", 155 pounds on the interception, and Etowah takes the ball away from Creekview on a drive that has stalled.
Well, I know we talk about the experience of Brody Rhodes, but that time Carlos Thornton read his eyes all the way. He knew right where that ball was going off the snap because Brody stared his man down on the seam, and Carlos Thornton was playing in the back end there, and he was ready for that one. He telegraphed it, stepped right in front of it. That's a big turnover on this opening drive after it looked like Creekview was heading right down the field.
So it's Braden Bohannon lining up for the Etowah Eagles for the first time. The junior, listed at 5'11", 160 pounds, is your starting quarterback. He's in the shotgun formation, 4 wide receivers, 1 man in the backfield. It's a screen pass on the outside. Good pursuit by the Grizzlies, but he's got a few blockers. Look out now. Makes a man miss, but he's finally tripped up by number 19 for the Grizzlies. And on the tackle for the Grizzlies, it appears that will be Ty Hubert, the junior, 5'11", 175. A good open field tackle out there, but it's enough for the first down, move those chains.
Well, you got a young quarterback, as we've talked about in Bohannon. He just swings it out right there to Remington Adams, who you talked about in the preseason as being a guy moving around. First play, get it out of his hands quickly. Don't put a lot of pressure on the young quarterback too early.
3 wide receivers, 2 men in the backfield. Bohannon once again. Turned around, handoff right up the middle, got a little bit of room, and it's a misfake. And he looks like he's actually going to lose a yard on the keeper. And we have a score update. Vaughn, go ahead.
We're at Skip Pope Stadium. Early in that game, Sequoia takes the ball first drive, up 7-0 early on the Wolverines. Sequoia up 7-0 early.
All right. Thank you, Vaughn. So 2 good games. Once again, River Ridge up on Lassiter early, 8-0. Amir Morrison, 73-yard touchdown pass, 2-point conversion good for the update on that score. Still no score in the Gilmer or Pickens game so far that we can see. Our score here is still 0-0 on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. Nothing going on here so far except a Creekview Grizzlies interception, which was picked off by Carlos Thornton, the senior, and Braden Bohannon, now taking things over. That was Brock Rechsteiner on the tackle earlier in the series. Turnaround this time, an option pitch. Flag comes in on the far side. He's going to be cut down short here. So the quarterback runs are not working so far early, but let's see what the flag is on the far side of the field.
Yeah, it was great pursuit there by Grant Anderson. We talked a lot about him in the offseason as well, the leading tackler basically on this Creekview defense. And he's definitely going to be a guy to watch, a guy that we caught a lot of last year. And, you know, this Creekview Grizzly defense doing a lot of movement up front before a pre-snap, trying to confuse the Etowah offensive line a little bit, bringing some stunts and some different things. And that time they ran right into a run blitz as they tried to go off tackle there.
Isaac, as Grant Anderson, as you mentioned, 66 tackles and 5 sacks. This is a Creekview team that had 42 sacks last season. Incredible pass rush. You don't want to get in a passing situation, but with 2nd and 16, it's going to be hard here. They're going to need to get a few yards. Let's see here. He drops the snap, and he's wrapped up immediately. Let's see if he was able to hold on to that ball. He was tackled by a gang of Grizzlies, but really number 55. And that was for the Grizzlies. Sam Manazzi out there, Pardon me, the Manazzi family. I actually graduated with his older brother. But
you better get that one right.
I know, right? But good tackle there and a miscommunication on the snap, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and extra long, 3rd and 20, let's call it. And they have the ball all the way at the 40 or 35-yard line, and they need to get all the way to Creekview's 45 to get the first down. So watch what Creekview does here, probably just a little bit of prevent defense. Well, this is an interesting formation.
Power eye.
1 quarterback, 3 men go out to block. A flag comes down on the far side, and it was a good pass intended for number 3. We have a score update. Go ahead.
Over at Lassiter, Amir Morrison, who we're going to say that name a lot this year, whether we're at that game or not. 45-yard touchdown run. Amir Morrison still pending on the extra point.
Wow. What a start for that young man. You know, we've talked about him a lot, and River Ridge is going to be a fun team. You know, Vaughn said it. He thinks this is going to be the year they're going to beat the Cherokee County School. But I got a feeling they're going to beat a lot of other teams, too, especially if he keeps running the football like that.
All right. So they had a false start penalty that was declined. So now the punt will come on. And number 91 for the Eagles will be out there to punt. And number 91 for the Eagles is Carson Allen. So the place kicker also doing the punting for them as well. So good news for that young man. Once again, a highly touted recruit in 2023. He'll get some offers coming very soon. And he gets the kick away, but it's short. It lands at about the 40, takes a good roll, 30. Still rolling, and he finally down at about the 29-yard line. So a field flipper there, and the Grizzlies will come back out to take another possession.
Yeah, Allen kind of hit that one up the chimney chute there a little bit, but fortunately took a big Eagle bounce and rolled down, as you mentioned, to the 29. I think, both teams now have gotten that first offensive series out of the game. We talked about it, off air beforehand, you and Vaughn and I, about just, how fast these teams were going to get off to a good start or not, and both teams – you kind of get the sense that they're in that feeling out mode a little bit here. We're already down to 5:24 in the opening quarter, no score. Both teams now getting set to touch the ball the second time. Let's see what adjustments they make.
Right you are, my Dave friend. Here we go. So once again, you're going to have Brody Rhodes at the quarterback position. Tyler Stevens standing behind him. 2 wide receivers split out. The snap is fumbled again. Tyler Stevens falls on that one. And the center's right now having a little bit of trouble. So the center for Creekview is listed as Braden DeBroa, 54, senior, 6'1", and 240 pounds.
I'm a little surprised they came back out in that shotgun, that pistol formation. I really thought they would come back in the eye and just see if they could pound it all the way down the field. But, hey, they're coaching. I'm not. I'm up here just analyzing.
Well, we talked about the lack of a preseason. I mean, it's hard. I mean, some of these guys are getting their first ever varsity start with no scrimmage, no preseason, no anything. So a lot of jitters still out there right now.
Snap here, handoff right up the middle. A good run. Looks like he got close to the original line of scrimmage. Let's call it a half a yard short. Tyler Stevens on the carry there as well, so give him a gain of 4.5, brings up 3rd and 11.
Yeah, big play right here for this Grizzly offense. You talked about DeBrow being there in the middle, Perez, Saladin, and, of course, we talked about Doran Hartley, the bookends. And as we talked about, not a lot of size. I mean, this Etowah defense really matches up size-wise pretty well, I think, against this Grizzly front. But, again, they're quick, and, it's about leverage, getting under the pads, and so far Creekview's been able to get a good push off the ball.
A big recruit, Jared Whitecamp. He's playing defensive tackle here tonight, number 35, 6'3", 245 pounds. Rhodes in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers split out. Running back helped to block. He's being pursued, and Jared Whitecamp takes him down for the first sack of the season. And he is drugged down at the 28-yard line, and the Grizzlies will be in a punting situation. But first, we have a score update. Vaughn, go ahead.
Woodstock takes the kickoff, drives right down the field in 4 plays, ties it up 7-7 at Skip Pope Stadium.
You heard it here. So that score is now 7-7. River Ridge, if you missed it, has 2 touchdowns on the game, both of them from our good friend Amir Morrison over there. So that score is at least 14-0. That was pending the extra point. And back to punt now for the Grizzlies. He rolls, boots, does a rugby kick, gets it off, a good punt, out to the 40-yard line, 35. And he shakes a tackler, goes around another, but finally falls down. And on the return there, Brock Recksteiner out there, making a few men miss. Some extra whistles going on and a official timeout. We'll take a timeout with him, 30 seconds, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here in Woodstock, Georgia. It appears the official timeout is due to the water. Not sure why. Dave, shed a little light on that?
Yeah, it's just early in the year. You tend to have that in some of the first few ball games of the season. They're going to put an official's time out there to let everybody hydrate. It's a hydration break. They'll throw in a couple extra timeouts here and there just to give these guys a little chance to stay hydrated with all the health issues that have seemed to have popped up in high school football over the last several years, trying to do the best to prevent the heat stroke and all those sorts of things. And it's gotten a little cloudy, and the sun's starting to set a little bit, earlier than it did a few weeks back. So for the most part, we're not in sunshine much anymore as the lights have kicked on here at the Eagles Nest.
Right, you are. Even the umpires taking a little bit of time to get some water there. They have
That's
their own
really
special
what it's all
cooler.
about. Yeah, they got those officials got to hydrate. That's what it's all about.
It's their first game of the season as well. So once again, Braden Bohannon, 4 wide receivers, 1 running back in the formation behind him. Takes the snap, bobbles it a little bit, but gets it off, and it's going nowhere. That was wrapped up immediately. Braden Bain was out there on the carry. Listed as a wide receiver, but the senior 6 foot, 160 pounds. Good wrap up there by the Grizzlies, and they have him at 2nd and long.
We talked a lot about Creekview's run game, and I think for Etowah, a lot of the same things. They've got a lot of guys back there. Clivert Minnie, number 12. We've seen him here. A couple of different guys. Adams already with a touch out of the backfield. So they've got some weapons. Etowah does, and kind of like Vaughn, this is a team that may be very underrated. They like to spread the ball around, and they've got the athletes to do it.
Still waiting for the first punch to land. 3 minutes left in the first quarter on the Sutherland scoreboard update. Once again, gets a pass this time, turns around, almost intercepted. It was an intended 5-yard stop, and number 29 for the Eagles, that's Caden Moss, the junior, turned around too quickly, and it almost fell into the lap of a Creekview Grizzlies defender. Yeah, they got rid of that ball a little bit quick. Moss had not quite come out of his break yet, and when he turned around, that ball was whizzing past his face mask there. And, it's a lot about timing. You've got a guy in Braden Bohannon, of course, won the starting job as a junior in the offseason, comes in here, and, these guys, again, it's just about timing, and that'll develop throughout the season. Well, you also have to feel like the pass rush for Creekview may be making him a little upset. Once again, you called it the power I. I've never seen this before. It's a pistol formation, except there's 3 men lined up directly behind one another. The snap here, 2 of them go out to block, 1 man gets out in the flat, and number 3 falls down completely. Once again, that's Rechsteiner out there, and he appears a little hurt. He comes off holding his side. Hopefully it's only a cramp. We'll keep you updated on him when we find out what's going on there. But that will force the Eagles to punt again on a 4th and 12. Carson Allen coming out.
Yeah, and one of the questions, Kemper going to manage the quarterback situation. He went back-to-back series with Bohannon, so we'll see how that progresses throughout the night too.
Just a little unpolished, but that's what you expect when you haven't had any 7-on-7s for the majority of the spring. No spring game, and you also didn't have a scrimmage. So these guys are in their first game scenario. Creekview's up man comes up deep. It's nearly blocked, and they might have got a hand on it because that ball's going nowhere. It goes out of bounds at the Eagles' very own 43-yard line as well. They're marked that. So the Grizzlies are set up in their own, or in the Etowah Eagles territory. Only 43 yards to go to Payturt.
Yeah, a 9-yard punt. I think one of the Grizzlies may have got a paw on that, actually, Will, and that ball just went right off the side of Allen's foot and went out of bounds over here on the near side. So all of a sudden, great field position. Creekview with a short field right here, starting this drive at the Eagle 43. We saw what they did on the opening drive, punching it down to about the 30 before that interception. So it'd be interesting to see what they do right here with the short field.
Looks like Creekview's, as Vaughn might have guessed, is going back to the I formation. Looks like he'll get to keep that name Touchdown Brown at least for this quarter. 2 men switch over. Knock on wood if you're with me. 1 wide receiver out to the far side. This time it's a handoff to the designated fullback. That's a gain of just a few yards. He falls forward, called a gain of 5. Number 3, once again on the carry. That's A.J. Vaccaro getting the majority of the workload so far here early.
Well, one guy to watch here tonight, I think, will be Hayden Thompson, the senior tight end for Creekview. They like to motion him and bring him in as an extra blocker, but just when you think he's going to block, he's got the speed and the athleticism for a big guy to be able to slip out there. We saw him make some big catches last year. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a little shot down the seam right here to Thompson.
Similar to that Paxton Naaman 2 years ago, when a big, huge blocker, but, man, he had great hands. He could go catch it when he needed to.
Brody Rhodes takes a quick timeout here. Saw something he didn't like on this 2nd and 6. We'll take a timeout with him. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
And now here's a message from Canton Tire and Wheel in Canton.
Canton Tire and Wheel, Canton Tire and Wheel. We've got great tires and we've got great deals.
I'm Cooper. And I'm Caden. We're Mr. Danny's grandsons. We're working the jingle now for Canton Tire and Wheel. They take care of all your automotive service needs. Be sure to tell Mr. Steve and my poppy you heard us on the radio next time you call Canton Tire and Wheel at 770-479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Canton Tire and Wheel.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID, everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet, we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the Furniture Store in Akron, Hiram, and Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here in Woodstock, Georgia. We've got a store update. Vaughn, go ahead.
Over at Lassiter, again, it's all River Ridge Knights right now. 40-yard screen pass. Carson Latham to Andrew Bingham. Knights up 22-0 early on Lassiter.
All right. Carson Latham with his first touchdown pass of his young career. Very excited for him. Here in our game, it is still 0-0. 2 minutes left in the first quarter on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. Brody Rhodes takes the snap, hands it off, keeps it himself on this time. Makes a man miss. He's wrapped up and dropped hard by a couple. And we've got another score update, Vaughn. Go ahead.
Woodstock gets the hold. David Daniel blocks the punt, recovers on the Sequoia 1, and they punch it in. Woodstock up 14-7 over at Skip Pope.
All right.
Man, I can't believe it's amazing what all's gone on in the first. We're scoreless here.
And everybody else
is putting up points like gangbusters.
Hadn't been in the red zone over here at the Eagles Nest.
Yeah. And the Dragons are up on the Gilmer Bobcats 7-0 in the first quarter. If you haven't been able to keep up with that one, we promised we would keep you updated, and we will. So Rhodes going to go under center this time, another victory formation type. No wide receivers this time. Gets the handoff, turns around, hands it to the back. That's Stevens. He bounces it outside. He's got first down, pushing for a little bit more. Still on his feet. Carries a couple of Eagles with him, and he's well ahead of the first down marker. It took Carlos Thornton and Trevor Fair, both of those guys 5'8", around 150 pounds, had a hard time bringing the big junior for Creekview.
Yeah, power formation right there. Again, 3rd and 1, only need a yard. Got about 7 or 8 on a great second effort run over the left side there. Takes it down to the 26. A fresh set of downs right here for Creekview. We talked about it on Wednesday night, again, fatigue and all those sort of things, and I think it's kind of a game of possession, a keep away right here early on, trying to wear down that Eagle defense for those later quarters.
Creekview really going under center, getting away from the shotgun, but not this time. Pistol formation. 2 down men to this side of the field. It's a roll out to this side. It's a keeper all the way. Makes a man miss. Almost trips him up and still does. He's sandwiched between 2 Eagles. We'll credit that tackle to Carlos Thornton, who had an interception earlier in the game, so a good pursuit by him. Trevor Fair was out there to help him as well, if you want to give them a assisted tackle for both of those guys. It'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Didn't gain much. 20 seconds here. We'll see if the Grizzlies decide to snap it or if they want to take it and talk about it. And we have yet to see the call. They're all standing around. But so far, a pretty lackluster quarter here, everywhere except here. It seems like everybody else has had some scoring. The Grizzlies will hurry up to the line. They're turning around, checking the clock. Rhodes barking out some orders. And they're not going to get this off. That'll be the end of the first quarter, and we will be back. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and we'll be back as these guys switch sides.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Soseby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Soseby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Canton, Woodstock, and all of North Georgia.
Thank you, Asa. Once again, that's Smokestack's Asa Spades Jones back on Master Controls. I'm Will Cooper doing the play-by-play, joined alongside my good friend, longtime broadcast partner. You know him as the Golden Voice, the Diamond Man, Diamond Dave Garner, and helping us keep with scores, updates, and all things you need to know around the county and beyond, our good friend for the county, Touchdown Von Brown. Guys, thank you for being with us.
So, diamond and gold.
Well, you're the golden voice, but the diamond guy.
I've got both statuses here. So that's,
You're like a multi-million selling artist. You have diamond records and gold records. A gold microphone to go along with your diamond records.
I wish that was the case.
Well, we'll make it happen. So the Grizzlies switch sides here. They will now be going into the end zone, going to the left of us. So they're moving from right to left on your radio dial. Rhodes alone in the backfield here, splits his man out. It's a screen pass here. Good blocking, makes a few men miss. It looks like that was number 18, Dawson Curry. Once again, Von Brown mentioned him as one of the guys to keep your eye on in our Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show. Of course, this is the start of the second quarter, so make sure you stick with us for the Foundation Financial halftime show. Me and Vaughn will be breaking down all the scores that we have for you so far. A lot of scoring going on around the county. We're excited to bring that to you.
That last play there was necessary for Creekview's offense to keep that Etowah defense honest. They have basically, first quarter, just ran right at them. Ran between the tackles 90% of the time. I think it's going to be necessary for Creekview to kind of open things up a little bit and kind of spread the ball around a little bit on the outside like they just did to Curry there to try to loosen up this Eagle defense, because right now they're teeing off.
Rhodes brings Stevens even to him. Trips to the top, one lone receiver, and the Eagles jump off sides yet again. And that'll be an automatic first down. Move those chains for the Grizzlies, and it'll bring up a first and, let's call it, be first and 10, but it looks like they're going to spot the ball where, at the 14? Yep, right at the 14. So Grizzlies finally in the red zone, the first time we've had a red zone appearance in this game. And hopefully we may be able to see some scoring here, Dave.
Yeah, well, so far, it's now you called it lackluster. Now don't tell these defensive coordinators that. These defenses have played a heck of a ball game here. Bend but don't break mentality. Creekview had the remember, this started with a short field. This drive started at the 43 of Etowah. So, they have methodically moved this ball and ate up a lot of time and ate up a lot of yards.
Right you are. Victory formation yet again. Stevens on the carry. Gets outside, still bowling forward. And he'll gain about 5 and put it right at the 10-yard line, so call it a game of 4. It'll bring up a 2nd and 6.
If Tyler Stevens was wearing number 4, you might have a little flashback to 2 years ago with a guy named Cade Radham, because, he falls forward every time, and he's good for 5 yards every time he carries the ball.
Right you are, and especially going behind this Creekview offensive line that isn't particularly big, especially on the left-hand side behind Anthony Dorr and Sam Hartley out there. So same power formation. Rhodes under the center again. And it's a handoff yet again, still barreling forward, pushing the Etowah line back. And he's going to be stopped now at about the 6-yard line, so they're only about 2 yards short of a first down. And bring it 3rd and 2.
Well, it seems like the Etowah defense has settled down since that opening drive. You talked about Jared Whitecamp earlier, his older brother Jake at Berry College. I think he's here tonight. Saw him a little bit earlier there, but Jared doing a nice job, college prospect as well. And, they got some guys up front. We talked about Bird Scott, Whitecamp, Jones, Maddox, 2 great linebackers, and Skinner and Cantrell, a 3-year starter.
Power formation yet again. Rhodes hands it to one of the upbacks. This time it's A.J. Vaccaro. He's in the end zone for a Creekview touchdown. Your first score of the game, and it's the Grizzlies taking it in for the touchdown. A.J. Vaccaro, the 4-yard touchdown, and the Grizzlies are on the board, and it's pending the extra point on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. 6-0 for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, it's almost like that Creekview coaching staff said, hey, let's go ahead and get some points on the board. They just pounded that thing in.
Yeah, nice blocking there over the left side. We talked about that offensive line there and able to move bodies, and that's what they did there on that drive. Again, it just kind of settled back into a little bit of a rhythm there. They ran off left tackle, as we saw them do on the first few plays of the ball game there. And Vaccaro, strong enough back, he's one-on-one. He's going to win a majority of them.
So Dawson Curry is the place kicker for the Grizzlies. He's got the leg, and it's good. So a very high kick. Extra point is good. Light up the scoreboard at 7-0 on this Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. We'll keep the action right here for you. And, guys, what are your impressions of that drive for the Grizzlies? Finally got something put together.
Yeah, a situation where, you look at these defenses, everyone's still trying to settle in right here, and I think that Creekview went back to what worked on the opening drive before the drive stalled and they had to punt. We talked about right now the front 7. This game is going to be won at the line of scrimmage. I know we talk a lot about the skill position players and everything. Haven't had the ball in the air a lot either way. We haven't seen anyone really throw a ball over 15 yards so far here in this first half. I think both teams are kind of content right now anyway to just kind of grind it out and, try to establish the run games. I think Etowah has been a little bit, they don't have the ball once, or so, here we're already 9.5 minutes before halftime, and both teams have just had the ball a couple of times. So it'll be interesting to see how Etowah answers right here.
Yeah, it looks like Creekview, when they want to, can impose their will, even with that smaller offensive line. Like you said, that left side, they're getting 5, 6, 7 yards, and maybe they're not going to get that big breakaway run because Tyler Stevens not really a breakaway guy, but he's going to get 6, 7. Hey, it's good to have 2nd and short as your next play, but it looks like it's being controlled at the offensive line for the Creekview Grizzlies.
With a 2nd and short, you have so much more ability to open up your playbook and do a lot of different things. Now, we haven't seen, either team take that deep shot yet, down the field. But I would expect right here, the Eagles, again, trying to establish a little bit of rhythm. And I'd like to see him get number 9, Remington Adams, a little bit more involved. We saw him on that screen earlier there on that opening series, and maybe they can get the ball in his hands again, a guy that's really going to move around a lot this year.
Ty Hubert is the kicker for this team. And once again, as we mentioned, Dawson Curry, the field goal kicker, or maybe just a short-range specialist. But he's set to kick it deep. Toe meets leather, and here we go. The kick is deep and fielded by the Eagles right at the 3-yard line. Takes it up to the 10. 15 slips, and he'll be brought down. Doesn't need to be touched. Once again, this is the same rules as college, where once you're down, you're just down. So the return there was attempted by number 7 for the Eagles.
Yeah, Trevor Fair, a college prospect in the back end of that defense, but also a return guy, just slipped down there. We saw a little bit of that turf monster on Wednesday night in the Corky Kell game at Cherokee. Guys were slipping down a little bit, and early on, you get this humidity going on, and that turf can be a little bit slick because it hasn't really been played on, a lot game situation, and so hopefully the guys can keep their foot in the night for both sides.
Well, the second quarter is going to start with Will Curcio at the quarterback position, sophomore, 165 pounds, 5'10". So for his formation, he'll have 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 running back, shotgun. Barking out orders, sends a man in motion. Claps his hands, uses the jet sweep, and that's going nowhere. And Remington Adams brought down for a loss. Let's call it a loss of about 7.
Yeah, they try to run a little speed sweep right there, trying to get the ball into Adams' hands, as we just talked about, and they did, but Creekview strung that play out nicely, was able to set the edge there, and Adams went backwards and lost about 7 or 8 yards there. So now you're digging out of a hole. We've seen Etowah. I think that's really the big thing here early on for the Eagles. They've just been behind the chains a little bit. They've been in that second and, third and long situation. That's just not where you want to be. Critical that they get positive yardage on first down.
Well, this Creekview defense is one that had 42 sacks last season and only allowed 22 points per game last year. And once again, they're returning Isaac Hubert, the sack leader and tackle for loss leader for the Grizzlies. So a lot of returning start on there. But they lost 7 starters between Durham, Lake Bowman, Wyatt Higgins, Jackson Partain, Nick Weeks, Eli Darty. So a lot of guys leaving, but Grant Anderson and Cole Hasty coming back, helping lead that linebacking core. And the Eagles taking a long time here in a huddle. And clock will now resume. Wasn't a timeout called, most likely just an official conversation.
Got the play clocks here at the Eagles' Nest, so it's easy to keep up with the time.
We do appreciate that. A Grizzly jumped off sides there. That was easy to see. That was number 34, the guilty party for the Grizzlies, excuse me.
Yeah, Alex Kirby got into the neutral zone there a little too early before the snap there, so they'll get 5 of that 7 or 8 back.
We got a score update. Vaughn, go ahead.
Woodstock comes back again, gets into the end zone, 21-7. Woodstock Wolverines over at Skip Pope.
All right, 21-7 in favor of the Wolverines. Curcio here takes the snap, handoff this time, has a little bit of a hole. Look out, there he goes, 25-30. He only got one man to beat. 40, he makes a miss. 40, 45, 50, all the way down, and he lost the football. Let's see. And the referee.
Yeah, Grizzly ball.
Wow. So the ball carrier was number 22, Luis Martinez, the sophomore, an explosive player, and he lost the ball, and the Grizzlies will take over here. So it was almost like a really effective punt, but talk about a drive staller, and the Etowah sideline does not agree with the call.
Yeah, I think they were trying to say that Martinez may have been down there before that ball popped out. Explosive run by Martinez, who this coaching staff is really big on. He was one step away, had some nice downfield moves there, but great pursuit from behind there by one of the Grizzlies to strip that football and knock it loose, and they were able to recover it at their 48. Or, 43. Well, that was good hustle from behind. I didn't catch a number on the strip there, but that was good hustle.
That was a good pursuit. The I formation is back, 1 wide receiver to the top. Handoff, flea flicker all the way. Brody Rhodes going deep. He's pressured by number 41. It's out there, and it's incomplete. It's ruled incomplete.
Well,
wow.
That's the thing about it. There were a couple plays on Wednesday night that a lot of folks were texting us about, and they were like, there is no, replay in high school football TV-wise. That's one of those right there that was over on the far side in front of the Creekview Grizzlies, and they erupted thinking he caught the ball, but they waved it off saying it hit the ground there. And on the backside of that formation, Etowah had Martinez wide open. down the field there. But you had, Curcio rolling to his right, just didn't see him, and put the ball over in the other corner there. Or excuse me.
Brody Rhodes out there.
Brody took a shot right there, but he pops up.
Yeah, Colin Scherer was there on the pressure. The junior, 6 foot, 150 pounds. Normally plays defensive back, but kind of in a rover position for the Eagles. Shotgun formation, handoff this time, going back to the basics. Makes a few men miss, falls out across close to the 50. They'll mark him down at the 49, it looks like. Good carry by Tyler Stevens out there, so that'll bring up a 3rd, and let's call it 5 just to be safe.
Not a great adjustment on that last play, too, by the receiver, but again, that ball was just a little bit underthrown there by Rhodes, and so he was unable to hook up, with him there. But, again, Andrew Cloy I was getting my numbers backwards, but Cloy was the guy that was streaking open down the field, calling for that ball, but Rhodes just didn't see him.
And the back judge was right there, so he probably knows better than anybody else. But Cloy was pleading his case, even going over to the bench begging for some help, but it's not baseball. You can't really argue the call. No reviews here in high school football, obviously, although we do have a live stream here. You can keep it up. And Rhodes complete, and the receiver was battled around a little bit. No flags come in, so interesting call there. Hayden Thompson, the intended target, senior, 5'11".
Well, I love that first down play call. It's creative. They went back to that I formation where they've been pounding it. Brody just missed his read with Cloy running wide open over the middle.
Yeah, that time he had corner on tight end. Trevor Fair giving up a little bit of size there, but as we talked about, he's a college prospect. Great athlete there, matched up with the tight end. Little bump right there, but he was in his hip pocket. So, 4th down now, 4th and 4, Will, with the ball right at midfield. Interesting call here, but it looks like they're going to keep the offense on.
Let's see if it's another ADO, attempt to draw offsides, as our good friend Larry Prather says. The Eagles bench trying to keep everybody calm, but it's a real play. It's a draw all the way. Rhodes makes a man miss. It's going to be real close, and he's marked short. So the Eagles will take over on downs, give that tackle to 32, Lane Cantrell, the captain for this Eagles team. And Rhodes comes up a little bit slowly, but he's all good, hopping off the field. So the Eagles make a big stand after the Grizzlies forced a big turnover.
Yeah, that Eagle defense, we talked about the linebacking course for both these teams. I mean, we talked about Grant Anderson and Hasty and Hubert, for Creekview, but we also talked about the Eagles with Skinner, an all-region linebacker, Cantrell, a 3-year starter, and credit to the Eagle, defense right there. I mean, Creekview had a full 4 yards to go to pick up that first down, and they just ran a quarterback keeper right into the teeth of that Etowah defense, and they made the stop.
Will Curcio is coming back out. Has the name spelled Curcio. And once again, sophomore. The Eagles not sure who their quarterback of the future is. They're trying out between him and Braden Bohannon, going as they go. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. Sends a man in motion. That's Clivert. Fake the handoff. There's a blindside blitz, and he's absolutely destroyed. And it's ruled incomplete. Number 21 for the Grizzlies was unabated to the quarterback. You might have heard of this young man before, Isaac Hubert.
Yeah.
Wow.
How does Isaac Hubert come through untouched?
Oh, my.
Yeah, somebody blew something up front.
Max Preps freshman All-American is untouched on the rush.
And somebody owes Will a big apology. Oh, my gosh. Isaac Hubert, 6'1", 190 pounds as a sophomore. Ouch.
Well, Curcio's arm was coming forward. I don't think there was any doubt about that, but I think his arm was coming forward because of the hit by Hubert. It wasn't that he was actually in his throwing motion yet, but that hit just jarred his arm forward, fortunately for the Eagles, who lived to play another down.
So set up here, shotgun formation, and it looks like the Grizzlies will call a timeout, but we have a score update, Vaughn.
Guys, I don't know what he's going to end up with tonight, but Amir Morrison may be breaking records over at Lassiter. Another 20-yard touchdown run by Morrison. The kid is I said in the preview show, I think he's the best player in Cherokee County. I don't know. We'll see as the season pulls on. 29-0 the Knights.
Wow. Pouring it on early, and that one just right down the road, over there at Lassiter. And man, it's just so exciting. We've talked a lot about River Ridge in the offseason, what they bring, and this is definitely, second year under Michael Collins could very well be a turning point for that River Ridge program.
Right you are. I mean, we've talked about River Ridge getting a few pieces. Carson Latham, obviously, as we mentioned, his first touchdown pass of his young high school season. Still has a long way to go. Jackson had a big target over there. We like a lot of their defensive pieces as well. And look, they're moving into a new region with Creekview and Sequoia. There's a lot to be excited about over in River Ridge Nation.
Coach Collins last night when we had him over and Art Mosley interviewed him, and we were just talking, his middle school numbers are increasing. And I think that's a telling sign of what your culture is becoming. When you're getting those middle school numbers up a little bit higher, you got more to choose from when they get to high school.
That's a good point. Your middle school, which Cherokee County has an extremely strong middle school program historically for most of the county schools. And a few Grizzlies creep up close to the line, showing blitz, and there's a flag.
Yeah, one of the Grizzlies there, I think. I believe that was Cole Hasty that was lined up in the neutral zone there at the snap.
Mental mistakes here. Coach Williams all the way out on the field, not happy with that.
Talked about Hasty coming off the edge defensively. We've seen him a lot toting the football, too, on the other side of the line there as well. Lines up at a defensive end rush position on this defense, and he was in a stand-up position, but you could see his helmet. He was leaning over the football there a little bit.
The Braves up 3-2 over the Nationals in the third inning. Eagles here. Our score 7-0. Will tries a pass, and it's intended for Clivert, but nothing doing there. Good defense out there. Let's call that Cale Williams, the junior free safety, coming up to make the tackle, or the pass deflection, excuse me.
Looks like Etowah's just having, 2 series for Bohannon, 2 series for Curcio. It looks like they just don't have any comfort on how they want to move the football.
Well, and you talked about that as a big point coming in, Vaughn, about, the quarterbacks, how was it going to look, the rotation, who was going to get the majority of the snaps. I think both these guys are basically in an audition here tonight.
Will goes back in the shotgun yet again. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. No motion this time. A good block on the outside. He gets open, and it's all the way incomplete. That was a good block by the Eagles out there. Number 12, Braden Bain, did a good job. And here comes a flag for a little extracurriculars. Yeah. And we'll have to see where this goes.
It was intended for Blake Bohannon over on the far sideline there, but just a lot of pressure in this Eagle offensive line. Creekview just getting such a good pressure. They're throwing a lot of looks at the Etowah front, and they're just having trouble picking up those blitzes. So it doesn't help things when you got a young sophomore quarterback that's out there taking, his first varsity reps against a team inside the county. And as soon as you're taking that shotgun snap, you've got, 2 or 3 or more white jerseys staring you down, and you've got to do something with the football. This Etowah offense is predicated on being able to get the football out of the hands of these quarterbacks because they're not asking Bohannon or Curcio either one to go win the football game here tonight. Trying to get the ball out of their hands, trying to establish a run game. It just hasn't been there so far.
So that'll be a personal foul against the Eagles. And accepted.
Yeah, something happened at the end of that play. Somebody said something or maybe had a little extra shove in there or something.
Well, it certainly looked like there was a little bit of shoving going on. There was a whole group of Grizzlies, only around a couple of Eagles. So that'll back them all the way up to the 38-yard line. The Eagles on their own 38.
And that's really been the Achilles heel wheel all night long is just Etowah being behind the chains. I mean, they've had so many 2nd and 12s and 3rd and 13s, and you're not. I don't care who you are, you're just not going to be very successful if you can't stay in front of the chains and maintain yardage on first down, set yourself up into 2nd and 3rd and manageable situations. They just haven't had a lot of them.
Carson Allen once again back to punt. Jake Putnam, the long snapper, gets it back. Carson tilts it cleanly. A little bit better punt this time. End over end. It's going to bounce at the 20. It's going to roll 10. And it's going to be not down yet, still rolling. It's all the way down to the 7-yard line. What a punt from the All-American punter, class of 2023. Keep your eye on that young man. Carson Allen comes off the field hyped, and the Grizzlies are going to have 93 yards to go if they want to find any pay dirt.
Well, there's the saying that sometimes your best defense is your offense, and it works both ways. Sometimes your best offense can be your defense, and particularly on special teams. Special teams is all about field position. And right there, that was a big punt. It wasn't a touchdown drive by Etowah, but, 4th and 20 from your own 30-yard line to be able to flip the field the way they just did with the way this defense is held out for the most part here in this first half. Now, if you're Creekview, you've got to go, 93 yards to the end zone here, and it makes it awfully difficult, especially in a game where defenses have dominated.
Trips to the top of the field. 1 lone wide receiver to the bottom. Rhodes joined alongside 1 running back. Puts his hands together, takes the snap, and he's tripped up right at the line. A good tackle out there by number 30 for the Eagles.
Yeah, Tim Jones. Yeah.
Yep. Defensive end, senior, 5'11", 185 pounds. Was able to get off the block and just clipped Brody Rhodes enough to only give him a gain of a yard, so call it 2nd and 9. Once again, the Grizzlies working in the shadow of their own goalposts as they pushed it out now to the 8-yard line with that gain. Going back to the I formation, it looks like. quasi-I formation. There we go. Now they move back into the power formation, strong I. Run right up the middle. And a few tackles out there. Let's give that credit to Austin Skinner for the tackle. 5'9", 175-pound senior linebacker.
A lot of construction going on down there in that northwest end zone, moving a lot of dirt down there. And tell you what, all these facilities continue to expand here in the county and get better and better.
It's grown a lot. The LED lights from the fire truck that normally sits in the end zone is shining down on the field. But, of course, the lights are nice and bright here at Etowah. We're glad to be here. Friday Night Lights, something we weren't sure we were going to have in 2020. Thank you for making us a part of your football coverage, and thank you for allowing us to be part of your day. Rhodes, 5 wide receivers spread out. 3 seconds on the game clock. They get it, and he fumbles the snap. He jumps up and catches it amazingly, like a basketball player going up for a rebound. Rhodes is a two-sport athlete playing basketball, and he comes down, and it's going to be put all the way back at the 4-yard line.
Wow.
So the Grizzlies are going to really have to punt out of their own end zone here.
You know, Etowah was flirting with a safety right there. If Brody's not able to come down with that ball, it's a safety or maybe even a touchdown for Etowah's defense at that point, because there weren't a whole lot of white shirts back there. There were a lot more blue shirts from Etowah standing around that ball, and he just went up for the rebound and brought that one in.
Punter comes on. He's standing on his own goalpost. Only 3 seconds. Going to have to get the punt off quick here. A few men come, but they go back for the return. It's kicked to Rex Steiner. He makes the catch. Going. 40, 35, and he falls all the way forward to the 30-yard line. So the Eagles are set up. They give him the spot at the 29-yard line. And we got a score update. Vaughn, go ahead.
Over at Lassiter did get on the board a little bit earlier, but Carson Latham finds Jackson Head for a 75-yard touchdown, 36-7, River Ridge all over the Trojans.
My goodness.
Folks, if you're not excited about the River Ridge Knights, I got some news for you. It's time to. They are here, and Coach Collins has them hyped up. Now, look, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. They're playing Lassiter, which we don't want to say is a bad program, just struggling, a little bit of a skid so far. But moving forward, we're excited to see them and how they're performing. Once again, 36-7 over the Trojans over there.
So Etowah with a short field right here. You're going to start at the 29, Will. This is a point. If you're Etowah, you got to come away with points right here before the half.
Have to come with points. Will Curcio comes back in. A slant out to the outside, and he's dropped into the loss. That's a loss of, depending on the spot, 1.5 to 2 yards. And once again, that's
Remington Adams
out there trying to get away, but was unable to. Good open field tackle by the Grizzlies.
Well, Etowah just has not thrown anything offensively that this Creekview Grizzly defense hasn't been ready for. And that time they tried to spring Adams out again on a little screen there. Had some blocking in front of him, but a nice job by the linebacking core in pursuit in the secondary to come up, blow up the block there, and get Adams 2 yards in the backfield.
Curcio, 2 completions, no positive yardage on those completions yet. Shotgun formation, 4 wide receivers. Sends Remington in motion. It's a split out to the other side, and he's going to be wrapped up by a group of Grizzlies. His helmet comes flying off. And the Grizzlies' defense right now doing what they did last season, and that's just blowing up opposing quarterbacks. And Will's going to have to come off and fix the helmet. So that'll bring Braden Bohannon back in.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's just a situation here where Etowah just unable to find a rhythm. You know, as Vaughn said, you got 2 different quarterbacks here tonight. You're still trying to figure things out a little bit. Coach Kemper, again, his offense, is very effective once you get the timing down. But, in the early part of the season, it's not the easiest to run, as you talked about. A lot of complexity to it here and there. Trying to run an option play this time. They had a guy in motion going the opposite way. Try to run an option back here into the boundary, and Creekview just blew it up. Curcio didn't even have a chance to pitch that ball.
No, so Bohannon, once again, as you mentioned, this is the drive to capitalize, and they're 3rd and 20, so behind the sticks yet again. And Etowah is going to take a timeout to talk this one over. So we'll take a timeout with them. We'll give them 1 minute, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
We have a pretty glass half full outlook on things.
But this glass is looking real empty.
Stop living with AT&T. Xfinity delivers gig speeds to more homes than anyone. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Looking for next-level apartment living that feels like a home run? At Cortland, we'll expectations out of the park. Visit Cortland.com to explore communities in your area and beyond.
You're locked in a hot
Etowah, Georgia. Thank you for being with us. You're listening to the WLJA Friday night game of the week here in Cherokee County. A quick score update for you. Our friends up north, Pickens and Gilmer, going head-to-head. That game is at Pickens Stadium. Pickens up 10-0 in the second quarter. So Pickens still holding the advantage on that one right now. We got a score update, Vaughn. Go ahead.
Yeah, over at Skip Pope, Sequoia does get back on the board. 21-14, Woodstock up on Sequoia.
All right, 21-14 in favor of the Wolverines. Bohannon at the quarterback position. 4 wide receivers, 1 running back with him. It's a bootleg out here. He's being pursued. Good block, and he's going to be killed out there on the far end by number 34 for the Grizzlies. Goodness gracious. This is just a relentless attack, and that's Peyton Parker, the strong safety, coming up, 5'10", 180-pound senior, laying the lumber on Braden Bohannon.
Well, you got 2 quarterbacks that are somewhat inexperienced. An offensive line, you got to give these guys time to set their feet and throw the football. And that time, running from the snap, it was roll out to his right, back to the near side there, but just threw it in between 2 guys way downfield, just nothing doing there. And Etowah, again, starting this drive, promising on the 29-yard line, and now they're, back at the 37, looking to punt the football here.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the Grizzlies so good at the pass. And listen, the Etowah offensive line, they have 0 returning starters from last year. So that's a very inexperienced group as well. Grizzlies automatically call for a fair catch, but they let it go over their head. A little bit of trickeration from the special teams, and that will roll back for a touchback. So the Grizzlies will have it on their own 25.
Yeah, it's almost like that Creekview defense is super, super aggressive because they know they've got 2 young, fresh quarterbacks that haven't been under these lights yet. And they're pinning their ears back coming after them. And like you said, that offensive line is just not giving them a lot of time.
Not yet, and that's what we talked about going in, the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta pregame show, and we'll talk about it on the Foundation Financial halftime show, is, listen, these guys, they're young. I mean, this offensive line, incredibly young. No starts for any of them. We're excited about Tate Nelms, and we're excited about seeing guys like Camden McQuaid. But for right now, they haven't worked together as a group. So they're really depending on this Eagles defense, which has the most returners starting. And, that's going to be, they have 8 senior returns. So that's a really good thing for the Eagles defense, and that's why the score is only 7-0. But they're putting it back in the hands of the dangerous Brody Rhodes. He's got 2 wide, and we have a stop and play here. It looks like a flag. A little bit of a discussion. A delay of game on the Grizzlies. So Coach Williams is going to have a lot to talk about there. And a little bit of finger pointing. Not sure if the play clock was wrong or what. So they will back it up to the 15-yard line, So the touchback does not go to the 25 as it does in your college games. It goes to the 20 in high school. So they will go in the same formation, most likely the same exact play. 1 wide receiver, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. The wide receiver, Curry, goes in motion. Rhodes gets the snap, fumbles the ball yet again, and the Grizzlies are able to fall back on that one another time. So a loss of 2 yards on that, and it'll bring up 2nd and 17.
I don't think we've had a whole lot of first downs here in the second quarter, really, to be honest. I know Creekview, of course, put together the scoring drive there towards the beginning of the quarter. But they were already on the move at the end of the first quarter. Since then, though, it's kind of been a stalemate. Etowah's offense really has been non-existent here in this first half, despite a couple of short fields. They just haven't been able to take advantage of it. And now, all of a sudden, Creekview just doesn't have the field position, so they're having to drive it out of their own end, a couple of times now, and that's tough to do here. And now, all of a sudden, you're flirting 2.5 left here in this first half. And I think they had to quiet the band there. I think the band was playing.
Trying to wrap up the fight song there, and the Grizzlies didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, he turned around and stopped it and told the band to knock it off.
The band is in the end zone where the Grizzlies are heading away from, but they're not far out of that. Rhodes finally gets a clean snap, and he's got pressure. He's in his own end zone, and he just finally chucks it at the offensive line, able to get away from the pressure there. A group of Eagles out there, and good pursuit, but it looked like Tim Jones out there on the corner was the one that really brought the pressure. Number 30, senior, 5'11", 185 pounds.
Yeah, Tyler Stevens was in the area, so no grounding right there. Otherwise, that would have been a safety because Brody was about 2 yards deep into the end zone there, rolling to his right for his life. And I've been impressed with both these defenses here in the first half. Great pressure up front by both these squads here, and that's why we've got a 7-0 ball game with a little, over 2 minutes left here in the first half.
The defensive coordinators, of course, having a great time. The offensive coordinators losing their hair, like you, Dave. 3 wide receivers to the top, 1 wide receiver to the bottom. 1 running back. Rhodes takes the snap cleanly. He's got pressure yet again, and he's almost sacked. He's going to be rolled out to the 10. He throws it across his body, and it is incomplete. A good attempt out there. Once again, that was attempted for Dawson Curry. Rhodes had to throw across his body, and that'll bring up 4th down. And Tim Jones once again on the chase, and not much doing on either side for these offenses, Dave.
Well, I tell you what, Brody Rhodes absolutely threw a perfect ball. I mean, under the circumstances. He threw that ball 30, 35 yards down the field and really put it where, only Curry could get it. Unfortunately for him, he had 2 Eagles that were also equally as good in coverage that were able to kind of rip that ball away at the last minute. Otherwise, that would have been a catch and a first down. But great job by the back end of this Etowah defense to not be lulled to sleep. They were all over that play and able to get a hand in there.
It's back, and it's punted this time. Cleanly line drive punt. And it's going to be bounced, and Rechsteiner lets it go, but he gets it back, and he's got a return set up. Look out, coming to the near side, and a good open field tackle by Cole Hasty. And that'll keep the Eagles from getting any further, but they're going to take over at their own 49-yard line. Real quickly, an injury update. Michael Bird-Scott, the starting defensive tackle for the Eagles, headed to the injury tent with a limp. So we'll keep an eye on that for you.
Yeah, Kate Souza with the, that special teams tackle as well. They was trying to bring it back to the near side. Rechsteiner was, and just was unable to turn the corner there. Nice job by the team to keep a minimal turn there. But this is the 3rd consecutive drive that Etowah has started in Creekview territory. This one at the 49 out towards midfield, but still got 2:06 to play with right here. But they need to hit something down the field right here.
Will Curacao comes back out, or Curcio, excuse me. There's no A in there. 5 wide receivers, 1 running back. Slaps his hands. He finds a man on a little bit of a slant. It's through the hands, and that is intended for Remington Adams. Once again, only about a 5'7" target, and it should have caught that one, but was unable to. A little stop and go there. And another Eagle comes off injured, holding his right knee. Can't see a number on that one. Looks like it's number 12 for the Eagles.
Yeah,
that's Braden Bain.
Yeah.
Very cool name. We have a lot of cool names. Chase Disney, linebacker. I like that one. Peyton Parker comes off the tongue very easily, very nice. Owen Mello, I graduated with his older brother as well. Mello's kind of a cool last name. So a couple of folks I know on the Creekview side, but the Eagles right now looking for some pay dirt. 2nd and 10, ball on the 49-yard line of the Grizzlies. Bootleg. He's running, and he's brought down. Wow. And that's Grant Anderson who does a flip after he makes the tackle. We'll call it a sack because it's a bootleg, and that's going to put the Eagles once again 3rd and long behind the chains.
Yeah, it's kind of a broken record. I mean, Vaughn, we've seen it all night long here in this first half. Etowah just trying to get out of this half right here and keep it a 7-0 ball game. They're going to have to make a few adjustments, and just nothing's working. I mean, they've tried to pound it in the middle. They've tried to sprint out. They don't have enough time to set downfield for anything.
So they're not showing a punt formation yet. But it's third. It's because it's 3rd and 17. It'd be responsible to punt on a 3rd down. Excuse me.
Although it can be effective.
It can be effective. We've seen it before. And attempted screen, but he's going to be wrapped up by a group of Grizzlies. Ball comes out, but he's marked down. It would have been recovered by the Eagles anyway. Grant Anderson was definitely in there on that tackle as well, but hard to see exactly who was responsible. 4th and long.
On that first down, 49-yard line, first down, they take a quick drop. It looked like the receivers might have been a little mixed up because he hit one of them. I think he was throwing to the guy behind him, and then they go back to the rollout. I would like to see him, if they're going to throw it, let him get it out of his hands a little bit quicker. They're 2 small QBs. They're rolling them out, and Creekview's just hunting them down.
Yeah, you want to expect them to set their feet and be able to throw comfortably, and right now the way they keep rolling in and out, I mean, they're just getting blown up. And that's the thing, is that even if they're getting rid of the ball, Dave, they're getting really hammered.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you want to try to build the confidence of your young quarterbacks early in the season. And, sprinting out right now and doing those things, those longer developing plays with the quickness of this Creekview defense is just not working. They're going to have to find a way to try to get the ball out of their hands a little bit quicker. But, they've went to the screens a couple times. We've seen that with Adams. They just haven't had a lot of success, but they just don't have the time to shoot anything down the field. So it may be a situation where you might have to, run a couple of – you don't want to get gimmicky, but, maybe reverse – do a little something there to try to throw this defense off just a little bit, because so far they haven't thrown anything at them, like we said, that they haven't been ready for.
No, and that's coming up. We've only got 1 minute left in the first half. Creekview took a timeout, allowing us to take a little break here for a moment. But Carson Allen coming back out to punt. And really, the big storyline for Etowah has been how effective Carson Allen has been as a punter.
Well, that's been their biggest bright spot tonight, has been in the punting game. I mean, they have kind of won the battle of field position. They just don't have any points to show for it.
Allen gets the snap, and it's a good punt deep. Called fair catch, and that time it will be fair caught by Dawson Curry at the 15-yard line. So the Grizzlies have 52 seconds to go 85 yards if they choose to do so or go into the half. Dave, Vaughn, what do you think their strategy is going to be?
Well, I mean, they're going to go to the air. I think they're going to try to let Brody throw it a little bit. They didn't have any success in the first half. I still think we'll talk about it at the half. It looked to me like they could have been very successful, just ground and pound. I know they're still trying to fill it out and get some different things going. But, let's see if they're aggressive here and try to go put another touchdown on the board.
Yeah, you've got the athletes to take a shot or two. I don't know how aggressive, Coach Williams will be right here in this situation, knowing that, Etowah's defense has equally put a lot of pressure on it. Creekview's got to take care of the football. I mean, we've seen a few snaps that have gone high. Rhodes nearly lost one around the goal line on that last series there. So I think more than anything, they might play it a little conservative right here and at least try to take care of the football.
Formation doesn't lend itself to 5 wide receivers, but Rhodes going to take the quarterback draw, makes a man miss, and he's hit. And he's going to gain about 6 or 7, and a flag comes out late right at the center of the field. That was a cross between number 30 and number 52. And they're still jawing. And finally, there'll be some people intervening there. So that was a little bit of a mismatch. And once again, Tim Jones and Anthony Dorr going back and forth. That one looks like it's going to go against the Grizzlies.
One of the things we talk about is continuity. Creekview, Coach Williams in his second year, like we're talking about with Michael Collins over at River Ridge. These seniors have been together really since about the 6th grade. I mean, these guys have played together a lot. So you're starting to see a little bit of that here. Now, the offenses, again, have struggled somewhat, but, you can't overstate it. I mean, these are two pretty good defensive football teams that we're seeing on display here tonight. I know you look at that scoreboard and you think, oh, the offenses have just been horrible, but you've got two defenses that get after people. We talked about Coach Devine, the Eagles defensive coordinator, Chip Martin, Grizzlies defensive coordinator. These guys attack the football. 11 has to the football for both these sides. So it's no wonder we've seen a low-scoring ball game here in this first half.
Yeah, I would think the Creekview fans and coaches probably a little disappointed. They're only up 7-0 right now. It feels like defensively they're doing whatever they want. And, again, they've moved the ball at times, especially when they had good field position. It just seems like they, at some time or another, they get too cute and kill a drive.
And this is like, the third drive in a row? I think they've started inside their 15.
Yeah.
Well, personal foul against the Grizzlies. That was against Anthony Dorr. Undescribed personal foul, most likely some jawing. I formation. And it's a handoff right up the middle. And they stop him for a gain of about 1, if you want to call it that. They'll get back to the 15-yard line.
Jared Whitecamp, again, blowing that play up. I don't think he's the one that eventually wrapped them up, but I think he had the first contact, just blowing up the middle there. They've got him lined up right in that zero technique, right over the nose of that center, and it's rip and swim up there, boys. I tell you what, man, these guys are making some moves really for both sides here tonight and getting in the backfield. I mean, both of these defensive lines were given an invitation for a party in the backfield, and they've both shown up tonight.
Looks like the Grizzlies are going to allow this clock to wind down. 3, 2, 1. They rush to the line, but that's just for show. So that's the end of your first half on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. It's 7-0 in favor of the Creekview Grizzlies. They're headed to the locker room. We're headed to a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
In times of uncertainty, it's nice to know that there's still some things that are certain. Hi, I'm Dave Garner here, your local Woodman Life representative. I want to make sure that your family is protected with needs-based life insurance through Woodman Life. Life insurance has many benefits. It's not just something that's there when you pass. It's mortgage protection, family savings, debt relief, replacing lost income, and overall peace of mind. Some companies sell it because they have to. We sell it because it's what we do. Call for a free quote today or visit me online, and let's make certain that you're protected from today's uncertainty.
Ladies and gentlemen, afternoon. Here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the furniture store in Akron, Hiram, Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest in Woodstock, Georgia. We are here for the Creekview Etowah matchup. It is 7-0 in favor of the visiting Creekview Grizzlies. Welcome to our Foundation Financial halftime show. Once again, you're listening to WLJA. I am your host, Will Cooper, and I'm joined alongside my good friend, Dave Garner, who will be leaving us in just a moment, hopefully to go get us some refreshments, as well as touchdown Von Brown. And we're going to go over everything going on in the county and the surrounding areas. Let's start with this game, guys. Obviously, not a lot of scoring, 7-0, a lot of big hits. If you're a defensive fan, you'll love this one. But what are these teams going to have to do to put more points on the board in order to win this game?
Etowah's got to find some kind of rhythm on offense. Whether that's trying to pound it up the middle a little bit. I think they got to keep those quarterbacks in the pocket a little bit and just let them connect on a few passes. You're rolling a young kid out to the left against a Creekview defense that just pins their ears back and comes after him. That's just not a high percentage play there. Would like to see Remington Adams get in a little more space. It worked early, picked up some big yards, but there's just been no established run game by Etowah, and it's hard against a defense like Creekview. If you can't establish that first, you're not going to be able to work much off of that.
I think we're seeing the inexperience of a young offensive line for Etowah on display tonight, and I think these guys will certainly get better as the season goes on. But you got a heck of a test run in the first week when you're going up against an experienced Creekview defense. So these guys are getting broken in real well here tonight. But I think that they're going to have to shorten up those splits a little bit in the second half, and try to run maybe a little bit sideline to sideline, try to wear this Creekview defense down just a little bit, maybe soften them up if they can keep it. Here's the thing. With everything that's gone on here, Etowah's one play from tying this football game. So defensively, they're right where they need to be. They've won the battle of field position. They've just got to come up with one or two big plays, and it may be that they try to keep it a close game and try to get it into the fourth quarter, and something quirky may happen. You never know. But I think that this Etowah team they've got to be able to establish some semblance of a running game some way or another, because the rolling out and doing a lot of different things, I just don't think it's there. And then for Creekview, I think that offensively, I think that they're winning the battle up front. They're moving the football. They just haven't had the field position because they haven't been able to sustain long drives. A turnover or two here, there, a bobbled snap, personal foul penalty. We've seen a couple of unforced errors, if you will, that have plagued the Grizzlies here in this first half, and that's what's kept it a one-possession ball game.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is that you're seeing. Listen, both of these offensive lines are inexperienced, but the big difference to me is that for Etowah, you're having a amazing returning defense coming in from last season. These are, like we mentioned, 8 senior starters. The only 2 guys that really you have to replace are Cole Milivanovic and Raymond Devison, which we're not saying that's an easy task because it's certainly not. But they only allowed 27 points per game last year, which isn't record-breaking, but not bad. We've seen Brock Recksteiner move exclusively to safety pretty much, doing a few punt returns, but not much on the offensive side. 2 secondary starters return. Frank Mosley is the only guy that's new. Colin Scher is the only new linebacker return, joined alongside Austin Skinner. Look, these guys are young in some places, but most of the places they're really experienced, and that's the same thing we can say about the Creekview Grizzlies as well. Looking at that linebacking core, those guys have a pedigree for linebackers that do very well, and they're bringing it back again this year. And they're doing a good job of forcing pressure. Once again, as we mentioned, when you have a guy like Isaac Hubert, a Max Preps All-American freshman, and he was able to start on that Grizzlies defense last year that only gave up about 21 points, you're doing something right. So the Grizzlies have a lot to be excited about. But for both of these teams, they're going to have to figure out how to get their young offensive linemen. Well, let me say this. The Grizzlies are going to have to figure out how to get the snap down, and the Eagles are going to have to figure out how to block the run.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Grizzly coaches are probably going to go back and watch this game tape, this film, in this first half especially, and go, we could be up 21-0 right now if we're running the football. I mean, Tyler Stevens, he's getting 6, 7, 8 yards a clip. He's probably averaging 6.5 yards a carry. That's going to equal first downs. That's going to equal touchdowns. It just seems like you said, with some bad snaps here and there and trying to get cute out of the shotgun, it's just stalling their drives out. So, I think what you'll see early in the second half is just them ground and pound, and I think they're going to kind of go in there and talk about that at the half, and they're going to get first downs if they're just running that ball off the left side. And yes, Etowah is going to make adjustments, but we have not seen them consistently stop Tyler Stevens to this point. So, what are they going to do the second half?
You're exactly right. And Creekview coming in from last season was a very balanced attack, 51% run, 49% pass. Only lost 3 seniors on that side, but you look at them, and it's the losses are really big on the offensive line. You got a lot of young guys, and listen, this offensive line is particularly small compared to offensive line of late for the Grizzlies. I mean, we're talking about replacing Nick Penley and John Williams in back-to-back years, and you're doing that with Anthony Dorr filling that hole slightly. But obviously the big issue is Braden DeBoer right now, the center, not being able to control the snaps. That's something that we can work out. They seem to be doing maybe they move to a exclusive under center kind of snaps, because this Creekview team is really one of the only teams that you'll see that does a prototypical kind of switch where they go from shotgun back under center. Typically a team picks one nowadays, but they're very pro style in that sense where they do both.
Yeah, and one of the keys we had was, can they run the ball without it having to be Brody as far as Creekview, and they are. Brody's had some keepers, had a lot of success. I think Etowah's doing a good job stopping that. But I think this first half, as opposed to last year, they've established a true run game. Now it took going in and just saying, hey, we're getting in the eye, we're going to pound it down your throat. But they did establish a traditional run, which I think that bodes well for them, not to have to depend on Brody rushing for 75, 80 yards a game.
Right, you are. So moving ahead in this game, we have a lot of things to talk about that we can adjust. Obviously, even the quarterback play hasn't been phenomenal. Now, Etowah having 2 different guys that they're trying out between Braden Bohannon and Will Curcio. And then, obviously, we obviously all know how good Brody Rhodes is, offers from Army, Kennesaw State, and the Citadel. But I think what I would like to see from, now that we're getting away from the offensive line, I'd like to see really Brody kind of take control of this game a little bit, because he seemed a little bit distressed and he seemed a little bit under pressure, and I understand all that, but I would like to see the Grizzlies play callers give him some high percentage, low yardage throws and allow the receivers that are so good to get in space.
Yeah, they're not running open in the secondary, but to your point, a couple quick hitters, a couple slants, and let Brody's arm get going, because we just did not see that, and we know what he's capable of. We just did not see a confident more play calling maybe in the pass game. Maybe that has something to do with Etowah's secondary. But to your point on the 2 quarterbacks for Etowah, that thrown to the fire audition. There's just not a comfort level there yet, and maybe they go in, regroup at the half, and maybe start setting up a little bit easier throws. Like we said, on that first down, he takes the quick drop, and it looked like it could have been a completion, but again, as Dave said, the rollouts are just not something that are working out right now.
Right, you are. We're going to go ahead and take our second break on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. When we come back, we'll talk about all the other area county games, get you up to date on those scores, as well as the scores down at Truist Park as well. Thank you for being with us. Once again, the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
And now here's a message from Canton Tire and Wheel in Canton.
Canton Tire and Wheel, Canton Tire and Wheel. We've got great tires and we've got great deals.
I'm Cooper. And I'm Caden. We're Mr. Danny's grandsons. We're working the jingle now for Canton Tire and Wheel. They take care of all your automotive service needs. Be sure to tell Mr. Steve and my poppy you heard us on the radio next time you call Canton Tire and Wheel at 479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Canton Tire and Will.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
When you are the official sponsor of the comeback, adding a few feet to a drive matters.
First down.
So does shaving a tenth of a second off a lap. Top-rated surgery, physical therapy, and motion analysis by the sports medicine team at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta helps young athletes not only prevent injuries, but heal faster and return stronger, ready to win. Our more than 25 orthopedic and sports medicine locations are ready to assist your athlete's comeback. To learn more, visit choa.org/sportsmed.
Welcome back to the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. You're with us here at the Eagles Nest in Woodstock, Georgia. I am Will Cooper, joined alongside my good friend Dave Garner and touchdown Vaughn Brown. Guys, thank you for being back with us. We went over what the Eagles and the Grizzlies are going to have to do to get this score turned around. Once again, it's 7-0, and we're at the half. But looking at the other area games, of course, as we mentioned, Cherokee and Carver was our first game of the entire season. Cherokee won 38-12. So good news for our guys over there at Cherokee. Really proud of them. And Woodstock, last we checked, 21-7 over Sequoia. That game's over there at Skip Pope.
21-14 at the half. Sequoia gets a late touchdown pass to cut it to 21-14, and they are at the half as well. Pouring down rain at Skip Pope Stadium, so I don't know which way that's going, but a downpour at Skip Pope Stadium.
You know, it's actually funny you mentioned that, because the last time Dave and I were here, we were here as the Eagles were set to host Hillgrove, the Hillgrove Hawks, and we sat on this very same platform that we are standing on with the very same tent we are sitting under, leveled down to about a foot, and we sat on with a cell phone listening to the radio station trying to figure out if we were going to go back on the air or not. They ended up canceling the game and moving it to a Saturday. Fortunately, we lost that week, but hopefully that's not here. Here, it's still humid, but it's at least the sun's gone down. We are under the tent. We've got the LED lights going on right now so we can read. It's really for Dave because he's old. But for me, you know, it's just more of everybody can see my face while they're up here and not looking at me anyway. So, Dave, as we mentioned, Woodstock, Sequoia, 21-14 at the half. How are you feeling about that game?
You know, I think that a lot of folks, like we said, coming into all these games, we had some question marks. You know, the big thing for Woodstock was, you know, how involved was David Daniel going to be? And we saw that early on special teams, he blocks a punt, you know, setting up a touchdown. You know, obviously without being there, not knowing his stats for sure, but I can only imagine, you know, Coach Buddy knowing coming in that they were going to have to find a way to get the ball into his hands. So he's made his presence felt here tonight. Sequoia, as we know, had a lot of question marks, you know, some big graduation losses. We know Jaden Mitchell, of course, is the standout player. We know they have athletes. They always do. But that game, to me, kind of playing out the way that I kind of thought it would. I thought it would be kind of a possession game, maybe back and forth a little bit. But so far that's what we've seen, you know, with that one. So I think it'll be interesting the rest of the way to kind of see how that plays out here. We may be done before everybody else with our low-scoring game, so it might be a situation where once we get into our post game, maybe we'll be able to kind of tune in a little bit, see what's going on.
Yeah, the updates I'm getting, you know, the score updates, it does sound like both teams are running the ball. So I don't think we're seeing Air Buddy yet. It's probably one of those situations similar to try to get those two young quarterbacks up and just comfortable on Friday nights. So it sounds like both teams really doing it on the ground. Obviously, the main difference in that, to your point, the David Daniel block punt, they recovered at the 1 yard line and they punch it in. So don't know what David's doing, but obviously defensively he's still an impact. And then over at Lassiter, the Trojans versus the River Ridge Knights, that score is 36-14 at the half. Amir Morrison closing in on 200 yards on the ground in that game. So, you know, they may try to rest him a little bit the second half and keep him fresh, or Coach Collins may just let him keep rolling.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's an unbelievable start to the season tonight for that young man, regardless of how good or not good Lassiter or whatever. Still, you know, you put up, you know, a couple hundred yards in a ball game, presumably, as he's going to do tonight. You know, that says a lot about how far he's coming. We've talked about him. I mean, you know, freshman year, stepping on the scene, immediately making an impact. And now this kid, just a couple short years later, is one of the premier backs in the state of Georgia in high school football. And that says a lot for a program like River Ridge, who we know admittedly, has not been that powerhouse. They haven't been that perennial playoff power. So to have a guy like that in the program right now is really someone you can kind of build that team around. I know we're talking about high school football, and it's not about, one guy, but when you have a special player like that, it only comes through every so often. You have the ability to work around that guy, and that sounds like Coach Collins, has that team. And I think really even more than the offense, and Amir Morrison, we talk about that all night long, but defensively.
Right.
For River Ridge, to me, is I think where this team is going to stand out more than anything this year. But if you're putting up 30 and 40 points a game, then really you're only having to make a few stops a ball game to come away with some W's. And I think this defense is definitely capable of doing that for River Ridge.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing is that, we saw Amir Morrison for the first time as the WLJA crew in 2018 when he was a freshman against Harrison. And, even then you could see he was the bright spot in that River Ridge lineup. And it's amazing to me that he hasn't got, even state or national attention yet, but it's coming. All you have to do is rush for 200 yards a couple times, and somebody's going to start picking you up. So I wouldn't be surprised if this year being his junior year, you start seeing some offers roll in, you start seeing some national recognition. Look, I know locally we've all recognized his greatness, and we've put him on first teams, and he's made all regions and all that great stuff. But it seems like people are doubting him still. And I'm here to tell you, look, like I mentioned, River Ridge is here. They're ready. And it's been a while, and Coach Collins has really changed the culture. You mentioned the enrollment over there at the middle school program going up a lot, very similar to the rebuild going on at Gilmer County as well. And, man, I tell you, I'm excited to see the River Ridge Knights moving into this new region. And, I think if anybody can make a big shock, I told Dave this about a month ago, if anybody can make a shock, River Ridge is going to be the team.
Yeah, I think one of the questions we asked this to Coach Collins multiple times is how can you take some of that pressure off of Amir Morrison and not let every defense just come in and say, hey, we have to take him away. They've done that tonight. Jackson Head, who's a big kid, basketball player, he took one to the house 75 yards. Andrew Bingham, we know they have other receivers, so it's huge for a night like this, no matter who you're playing, to all of a sudden show some other guys on tape where teams are looking at it going, okay, we just can't key on Amir Morrison. We've got other guys to stop too, and it sounds like Carson Latham is really doing a great job. And Coach Collins said he's one of the smartest quarterbacks he's ever been around. He can run it, he can throw it, he manages the offense, and it sounds like Carson's doing a great job of running that offense and getting them in the right place, which is this is first year. But like we said also, they knew that was their guy. They don't have to worry about looking over his shoulder. He is their guy.
Yeah, and that helps the young quarterback's confidence a lot. It's a lot like what you hear about with starting pitchers and stuff like that when you hand them the ball and say it's your job to lose as opposed to you have to earn your job, which I'm not saying that you're not putting in the effort to earn that job. Obviously, there's a reason you got that. But at a certain level, you kind of start to get that and you start to progress that. And that's what I would say is the big news for him is that it's really good for a young man's confidence to be able to give him the keys to the car and saying, we trust you to do this, so buckle up and take us on a ride.
Yeah, man, it's Friday night football.
It's Friday night football.
Man, it's hot and humid out here, but we're out here, and that's what it's all about. And it's just exciting. It's an exciting time, and so I'm excited for this River Ridge team, certainly, that we're going to see here in a couple of short weeks, and it'll be fun against this Etowah team as well, and, kind of peeking ahead a little bit. Some great games coming up over the next few weeks and a lot of inter-county matchups. We're front-loaded with, county versus county games, and so I'll be excited. I'll be excited for that one.
Right, you are. In our last 2 minutes here on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show, let's talk about the Gilmer Bobcats and the Pickens Dragons. Gilmer are losing right now 2-10 over there in Pickens County and Jasper. So a lot of people were feeling like Gilmer might be able to take that extra step. They're still within a possession. So just keeping you updated on that score as well. For people that don't know, next week our Cherokee County Game of the Week will take us back to Tommy Baker Field for the second time in 2 weeks, as we will be there for the Sequoia Chiefs as they come to town to play against the Cherokee Warriors, the celebration of Native American heritage over there.
There you go.
So
there you go. Well, I think, in this game right here, though, 7-0 ball game, very tight game right now. Guys, let's not forget, to me, the play of the first half was the one thing that went right for Etowah, went wrong, and that was that long run by Martinez where it looked like he was going to house it. Great effort from behind there. A Grizzly comes and strips the football. So even with Etowah's one big play here tonight, it was a turnover. They're going to have to find ways to get those kind of plays and secure the football.
Look, our score here is 7-0. Don't you move a muscle. We've got plenty of football coming left up, and how can you leave a 7-0 game? Come on, stick with us for the night. Listen to this. We're going to keep you updated on all the scores throughout the game as well. You've been listening to the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. Real quick, just one more update before we go. We're going to give you the Atlanta Braves score. We would be remiss if we didn't do that since we are a proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Never mind, I'm not going to tell you the score. 7-3 for the Nationals here in the middle of the fourth inning. So that young Braves pitching rotation not doing so hot right now. But thank you for being with us. This has been the Foundation Financial Halftime Report. I am Will Cooper, joined alongside Touchdown Von Brown and Diamond Dave Garner, the golden voice of the broadcast. We'll be back in 2 minutes to bring you the second half of high school football. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
The #1 magazine to read is Enjoy Cherokee. This beautiful full-color seasonal publication keeps you in the know with articles about interesting people, fun events, hot restaurants, and cool ideas. Enjoy Cherokee is for busy people who enjoy a lifestyle magazine worth reading and keeping. You'll find Enjoy Cherokee available at most high-traffic locations and mailed free to homes throughout Cherokee County. Join the thousands who don't miss a single issue. Follow us on Facebook and find issues on EnjoyCherokee.com. Ask for a free publication and enjoy.
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Canton, Woodstock, and all of North Georgia.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here in Woodstock, Georgia. Thank you, Asa. Once again, Smokestacks Asa Jones back on Master Controls, taking care of things. I'm Will Cooper, joined alongside Diamond Dave Garner, the golden voice of the broadcast, and Touchdown Von Brown with us as well. Thank you guys for joining me once again. The teams have returned from the locker room, getting ready to go. So if I remember correctly, it'll be the Eagles who will receive.
I think you're right there.
Yep. I think I am too. Thank you for the confirmation.
It's going to be interesting to see what this. They've had a half now. They've had a half, and they went in and regrouped. It's going to be interesting to see if they can come out and find anything that gives them a rhythm offensively.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be interesting to see if they decide to go which quarterback they go with to start, and if they're still going to give them a quarter each, or if they'll have to go how they feel. And the last man onto the field is Coach Williams having a conversation with one of the referees out there. So having a little bit of a conversation, walking out. The Eagles are standing on the field waiting for somebody to give the ball to them. So your 2 deep men, you may have heard a few names before that might be familiar to you. One of them is Remington Adams, and the other one, I believe, will be Clivert Minnie, number 7. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's Trevor Fair.
Trevor Fair,
7, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and, here's the thing. I mean, you set the tone of a game a lot of times with the opening kickoff, but the same thing for the second half. We haven't seen a lot of special teams plays tonight other than punts because there hasn't been a lot of scoring. If you're Etowah right here, you'd like to get a nice little return, get a little momentum going. And really right now you're just working on a first down. You're not really even necessarily working on a score. I mean, you've been so far behind the chains tonight in so many situations for this Eagle team, especially with a young offensive line. It's about just chipping away, and let's get that first down of the half. Then you've got something to build off of. They just haven't really had anything to build off of offensively in the first half.
Ty Hubert set to kick. T on the stand. All the Grizzlies taking a knee, getting ready to stand up. The officials blow the whistle. The clock is reset to 12 minutes. Here we go. Toe meets leather, and it's the second half of the high school football first season game. Fielded here at the 15, taken up to the 20, makes a man miss, out to the 25-yard line, good open field tackle, and the Etowah Eagles will take over at the 25-yard line, and let's see which quarterback comes running out on the field for Matt Kemper's offense in the second half of the first game of 2020.
You know, Creekview had a lot of sustained drives in that first half. They just couldn't really finish them. They just didn't have the field position either, so really both teams only touched the football a handful of times. 4 or 5 possessions, I guess, full possessions there in that first half, so you've really minimized the opportunity for scoring when teams are able to get the drives that they are, but it was mostly Creekview. I mean, Etowah didn't have a lot of first downs there at all, so right now they want to chip away and just try to get some positive yards or something going right here on this first down play.
Braden Bohannon's your quarterback. 2 running backs set behind him, 1 tight end, 2 wide receivers. Sends a man in motion. That's Remington Adams in motion, but it's handed right up the middle. And a gain of about 2. Call it 2nd and 8.
I like that call right there. Coach Matt Kemper, he's been around offense a little bit here, and they're bringing in the plays over there from the sideline. And situation where you pick up 3 yards on first down, that's really all you need. You don't have to have a big explosive play on first down. They broke Adams out to the sideline to kind of make the Grizzly defense honor that, but they handed up the middle and picked up a few yards.
Same formation as last time. Bohannon claps his hands. Sends a man in motion, and the ball, and it's given, and he's going to be brought back for a loss of 1. That was number 12 on the carry.
Yeah, and that's
Braden Bain.
Clivert Minnie, I think he's wearing 12 here tonight. Minnie is, a guy that's toted a few times here.
Nope,
but,
you're right.
Yeah, but he, that little misdirection play right there, but again, those plays that take a little bit longer to develop. This Creekview defense is so quick. And they were in a 4-3, just a traditional 4-3 right there look on that last play. They've been throwing a lot of looks at this young Etowah offensive line, and this time they'll cheat about 8 guys up here in the box and showing a little blitz right here on 3rd and 9.
Same exact formation as the last 2 plays, and they once again send Adams in motion. Good blocking. He gets a minute, turns around, and there's a man complete, and he's got it out across the 40 and tackled at the 50-yard line. And just as I mentioned it, that's Brock Rechsteiner back out there on the field. The big 6'3", 210-pound target goes up like a center fielder, rounds off his route, and move those chains. They'll have it all the way up at the 48-yard line, knocking on the door of Grizzlies territory.
It's nice. They didn't try to roll him out. They let him sit, play action, and you got that one-on-one out there with Rechsteiner. You got to take your chances with that, especially when you're struggling to move the football.
Yeah, great job by that offensive line, too, of picking up that blitz. And you got the tight end in there as well, and that time they gave him a chance to throw, and it's great. The ball was thrown back shoulder a little bit, so DB got kind of lost there. Great adjustment by Rechsteiner.
Bohannon, Remington in motion. Hands up the middle. Same play as the first time, and he barrels forward for a gain of about 4. So now the Eagles have a little bit of running room, and they're finally into Grizzly territory, the 49-yard line, 2nd and 6.
And they made a living there in the first half, Will. I mean, they had 3 or 4 possessions in Creekview territory. They just, again, 1 foot forward, 2 steps back, and that was the story of the first half for this Etowah offense, but definitely like the way that this opening series of the second half is playing out so far. If you're Creekview now, all of a sudden you got to gain that intensity back that you had going into the locker room.
So they found a formation they like, and that's the 2 wide receiver set, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, joining Braden Bohannon, simplifying things. Remington Adams will go in motion once again. Another handoff. This time he's going to be cut down short. Grant Anderson over there, as well as Cole Hasty, the 2 linebackers coming up to cut that one short, a gain of about nothing. So make it 3rd and about 6, 3rd and 7.
They're trying to squeeze Luis Martinez through a little hole there, but, boy, ran right into the teeth of a little run blitz there that Creekview had dialed in, and nothing doing on that play. So this is a big play right here early in this half in a 7-0 ball game for both teams with the ball at midfield.
Wasn't able to score it out of a hole there, so they're going to be back in the huddle, getting the call here on this 3rd and 6. Luis Martinez once again back in the game. Remington Adams, the other running back. A little different formation here. This time Adams is even with the quarterback instead of behind him. Bohannon gives the call. And he bobbled the snap, but there was a timeout called, or a flag. I believe there's a flag coming up here on the far left-hand side of the field, viewing it from our end. And a delay of game is what the call will be. Oh, boy. Talk about a head coach ripping his hair out.
Yeah, I mean, when you're struggling on offense, you definitely don't want 3rd and 13s and 3rd and 14s, and especially with that offensive line not really able to give him time. You may see a draw play right here and just let Carson Allen come out and try to flip that field.
Yeah, and that's been the story of the night, 3rd and 13. I mean, you know, when you got a young offense, I mean, that is hard to overcome. And here Etowah, after moving into Creekview territory, kind of finds themselves back up again.
Adams back behind Bohannon this time. In motion to the other side. It's going to be a pass here. He's going to try deep. He's got a man, and it's almost intercepted. Very close. Pass was intended out there. It looked like that was intended for...
It was Rechsteiner, yeah.
Yeah, again. But that time it was good coverage by a group of Grizzlies out there. Owen Mello looks like the coverage over there.
Yeah, they may not leave him one-on-one anymore, you know, especially in that situation. Let him go beat your
Third down.
guy. Yeah.
Well, and if that ball had a little more on it, it got there because Rechsteiner had a step, but that ball was just well underthrown, and Creekview nearly intercepted it.
So as we mentioned, Carson Allen coming back out, a very bright young spot in this Etowah special teams. And the special teams have been special. Good snap. And it's another deep kick. Creekview up man signals for the fair catch. That's Dawson Curry, and he's got it. And he fair caught it right at the 11-yard line, so the Grizzlies will set up shop there. So Brody Rhodes coming back out for the second half.
Can I make a prediction?
Absolutely.
I think we're going to see 12 handoffs right here, and they're going to score on the 12th one.
The 12th one.
Here we go.
I've got 12 straight handoffs, and they score on the 12th handoff. That one will be to the left side of the offensive line.
Well, a situation right here where we've basically picked right up where we left off in this ball game, both teams. You know, Etowah drive stalls, they get behind the chains, they punt Creekview down, and for the fourth, consecutive series, I think, for Creekview offensively, they're starting to drive inside their own 15-yard line. The ball right here placed on the 12, and so once again, Grizzlies have to go a long way. And, you know, when you've got a defense like Etowah does, you know, it's hard to march that far. You know, shorter fields, we've seen it. You know, success, but not so much here tonight.
Grizzlies running out of time here. 4-3 counting down on the play clock. I formation. Handoff on the outside. So there's one of the 11. Tripped up, but a flag comes in late. Might be a holding, and there's some extracurricular activities. Anthony Dorr, once again, going at it with somebody.
More flags.
Wow. So.
And now an Etowah player down, too, Will.
Not good. Difficult to see the number. I believe that's going to be number 8. Is that who you have, Dave? Break out the binoculars there. Well, now he's on the ground. It's a lower leg injury, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's Carlos Thornton, number 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
the senior. He already has an interception and a tackle in this game, so a big loss for the Eagles if he's unable to return right now. Hopefully just a cramp. We saw a lot of that in Wednesday's Corky Kell game. But, yeah, the Grizzlies right now not playing a smart football game, as that's going to be the 3rd personal foul in the game, the 2nd against the Grizzlies. And the Lions not doing such a great job of keeping a clean football game.
Well, you know, we talked about it. I mean, this is the very first meeting ever between these two schools. I mean, they have so much history with each other and with the other teams in the county, but the first time they've actually played each other in a regular season ball game. So, you know, these guys have been waiting for this for a long time, and it is getting a little chippy. You know, down there as you kind of expect, you know, these guys getting together for the first time, swapping paint. And, you know, I would imagine that might not be the last one of the night. I mean, you don't want it to escalate to that, certainly. But, again, a little pushing and shoving. And this thing, as it stays closer throughout the rest of this ball game here, you're gonna see a little bit of that.
2 unsportsmanlike conducts will offset, as well as a holding will push the Grizzlies back even further into the shadow of their goalposts. So that'll be the play that stands. So we'll repeat the first down, adding on the holding yardage. Now, once again, this is within that 10 or 20-yard zone of the red zone, so it should be half the distance to the goal.
You know, you're in a situation right here, too, Will, where, you know, if you're Creekview, because you've had some snaps and you've had some different things happen, that, you know, you've kind of offensively have to get a little conservative down here because you don't want to let Etowah have a turnover and score something cheap. But because they haven't had the field position, they've started so deep, they've had to be a little bit more conservative in taking care of the ball. And because of that, Etowah's been able to make stops and get the football back. They just haven't been able to capitalize on the other end.
Well, we're going to try it again. Shotgun formation. It's a handoff right up the middle. And that time it's a good gain. He's going to get out to about the 8 or 9 yard line. 9 yard line looks like. So they got 3 of that back. Bring up 2nd and 13.
And neither one of these offenses really have done a great job of staying in front of the chains. When we talk about that, I mean, getting up, they've had some penalties, they've had some things. I mean, you pick up 4 or 5 yards right there, and it's still 2nd and 13. Because you're just that, you've had some penalties here, and that's really been Creekview's thing tonight is some of these personal fouls and these penalties have caused them to get behind the chains. Etowah being behind the chains because of their lack of execution tonight. So both these offenses have really struggled.
So here it's going to be a shotgun formation, 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. Rhodes rolls out to the left-hand side. He throws on the run, and good coverage out there. That ball will fall incomplete, intended for number 22. That's Andrew Cloy out there on the outside. And Trevor Fair on the coverage, a little shaken up, slow to get up, but he's finally up and on his feet, and he'll be good to go for the second play of the drive, 3rd and 13.
The holding penalty really ruined my prediction of 11 straight runs there. So
yeah,
I'm gonna have a redo.
He's
on
back.
that.
He's back to first down, Brown.
Yeah, first down, Brown. He lost the touchdown. We'll get you down to 2nd down and 3rd down if you don't stop. We can keep going.
Just don't get to 4th, please.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
He'll go for it. He's that Carver kind of guy. Here we go. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. Rhodes takes the snap, surveys. Rhodes was left on his own accord, not a bootleg, going to run out of room, and finally just chucks it on the sideline. And that'll set up a punt. The ball's on their own 9-yard line, so they're going to be punting once again in the end zone, Dave.
Yeah, there's not a lot with the way the plays have been designed. Most of the receivers are kind of in the middle of the field there for Creekview. So anytime, Rhodes is rolling to his left or he's scrambling to his right, he just doesn't have anywhere to go downfield. There's just not any receivers in the area. That time he just threw that one away to avoid the sack. But again, he just hasn't been bailed out a whole heck of a lot here tonight. Nothing's been open downfield, really, for either team. I mean, Etowah hit the one while ago to Rechsteiner there. He got open, but other than that, there have not been a lot of explosive plays in this ballgame.
Punt formation here. It's back. A few Eagles come after it, but nobody gets to it. It bounces, and it's going to roll. It looks like it's going to stop at about the 48-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will set up shop. So they'll have it in their own territory. We'll keep the action here for you.
It's pretty amazing. The last quarter and a half, I mean, Creekview has started inside their red zone, and they just, if they could get field position, it gets you a little bit more creative on offense maybe, but, it's amazing where Etowah's been starting compared to Creekview.
Yeah, 4th or 5th drive, this one included, that will start in Creekview territory, and yet they have no points tonight. So that just kind of goes to show you how much this offense has struggled. It's, again, they work with another short field right here. You got to think they can hit 1 or 2 big plays. If nothing else, they're in field goal range.
Surely that's what they're hunting. We'll have a score update for you in just a moment. Looks like Will Curcio's back in there, and it's a handoff right up the middle. Look out. Breaks a few tackles, and he's going to be close to a first down. On the carry out there was number 12, and that is going to be Clivert Minnie, I now know.
Yeah, Minnie, the senior. We saw him really step on the scene last year with a lot of solid touches. Now Etowah going hurry up.
Hurry up offense. Here we go. Curcio once again, 3 wide receivers, 1 running back. That's Clivert in the backfield. It's another handoff right up the same hole. Flag comes in on the far side, and a gain of nothing on there. Vaughn, what's your update?
So, guys, I mean, it would be nice to be over at Lassiter. We would see a lot more offense, and we would see it out of one guy named Amir Morrison. He starts the second half with a 45-yard touchdown run, making it 43-14 the Knights. So, obviously, Mike Collins enjoys seeing that. He's going to let Amir go ahead and get a couple more yards tonight.
Another quick score update for you. Gilmer puts a touchdown on the board. It's 8-10 in the third quarter over there. So the Bobcats keeping it close, but 43-14 in favor of the Knights. Wow. And last time we checked, it was 21-14, and that is Woodstock over Sequoia at Skip Pope Stadium. So there are your local score updates. Our score here is 7-0 on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update for you. Once again, Cherokee won earlier in the week on Wednesday, 38-12. Quarterback takes the handoff, and it's given to Clivert. Bohannon came back in for that one, and it's going to be a gain of about 1.5, so right on the 45-yard line. Make it third and manageable for the first time for the Eagles.
Yeah, you get a yard or two on second down, and it's a win, because that's kind of the way it's been tonight. So 3rd and 7, you like that because you haven't had a whole lot of manageable third down situations, even though this is typically a 3rd and long situation right here. So let's see what Etowah decides to do. And at this point, where they're at on the field, you got to think that even if they get a few yards right here, they'll probably go for it on 4th down. With the way things have gone, they might as well roll the dice in a game like this.
And they're also finally into Creekview territory. That or they might want to keep Creekview pinned, although they haven't had a lot of success. Bohannon, the quarterback, fake. He's going deep for Recksteiner yet again. He's got him open, and he makes an incredible catch at the 15-yard line. Wow. What a catch from Recksteiner out there in space. Number 31 was in coverage. That's Nick Stewart, the senior, 5'11", 190, going up against a 6'3", 200-pound Recksteiner. Not a fair fight, but that's what you have wide receivers for, folks. And first down for the Eagles. They're set up in the red zone.
Yeah, Recksteiner, great job going up above. Cale Williams also back there, the safety as well. And Recksteiner just went up in between two Grizzly defenders and brought that ball down.
Bohannon once again turns around, handoff, and that one's to Martinez again, and he's going nowhere. He's dropped. Made the Grizzly defense upset that they gave up that play, and that's a loss of 1. So, as we mentioned, 2nd and 11, they're behind the chains yet again.
Yeah, Recksteiner's pretty much been the offensive arm, throwing the ball up to him and letting him make plays. And that's what you do. You got a guy like that. I mean, you let the guy make a play. Throw it up in the air. If it gets picked off, knocked down, your young quarterback, hey, that's okay. But you got a guy like that makes great adjustments to the football. Throw it up. See what will happen in a game like this where you've struggled.
Braden Bohannon slaps his hands together. And it's a pass once again. He's looking for Recksteiner, but he's going to make something happen. He runs, and he's able to get out to about the 9-yard line, hit hard by a group of Grizzlies out there. But it'll be close to a first down, at least turning the chains around. So it'll bring up a 3rd and very short.
Yeah, going to mark them down the 9. They still need about the 5 right here, so they still got to pick it up. But you got to think, at this point in the ball game, with the way things have gone, this is 4-down territory. You really got to feel like right here, Etowah knows they've got 2 plays to really pick up this first down.
So here we go. Just over 4 minutes left in the third quarter, 7-0. Bohannon looking to make something happen. And there's going to be a pre-snap penalty, and it looks like a false start against the Eagles, and that's shooting yourself in the foot. Vaughn, you got an update? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Air Buddy is ground buddy tonight. Woodstock's pounding the ball on the ground over at Skip Pope. A long touchdown run makes it 28-14 Woodstock, still in the third quarter.
All right, Woodstock turning around a season from last year that was a little disappointing for most of their fans. Of course, David Daniels going to be a big part of that, as well as Vontae Hampton on the ground, as you just mentioned. So, after that false start penalty, it'll be 3rd and 9 on the Eagles' own 14. Dave mentioned he felt like it'd be 2-down territory. I got to disagree.
Well, maybe not now.
I think you take the point, especially with Carson Allen, Mr. Automatic.
Well, 3rd and 4 is a lot different than 3rd and 9, but it's going to depend on what happens right here on this play.
Let's see what they do. Fake the handoff to Martinez. It's a bootleg with Bohannon, and he's brought down way behind the line. That's the last thing you wanted. And a group of Grizzlies out there.
Guys, the Creekview is sitting on those rollouts, and there's just not enough time and no open receivers back there for Bohannon or Curcio to find, and they don't have the time to do it.
And now you've set yourself up for a long field goal attempt right here. I mean, this is definitely not a gimme. This is going to be a 39-yarder.
Carson Allen has been known to make up to 50-yarders. He's a Coles Kicking Camp product. Bohannon will be the holder.
Yeah,
far hash.
Yeah, a little bit of an angle right here.
Will be kicking over towards the left-hand side. Left-footed kicker. The kick is up, and it's low, and it's perfect. So the Eagles are finally up on the board. It's 7-3 on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard update. We'll keep the action right here for you as the Eagles finally get something rolling. Gentlemen, how do we feel about that possession?
Well, just to be able to come away with points is something positive, and that's something that you can build on if you're Etowah's offense. 39-yard field goal, and he had the leg on that one. That would have been good from 45 probably, or close to it. But, just to get some points on the board right here, and now all of a sudden, you're a touchdown away from not only tying me, you're taking the lead now, So, again, still this game very much in doubt right here. And look how long Etowah had the football. There's only 3:22 left in this quarter. That was a long, sustained drive. It's a short field, but ran a lot of time off the clock there. Kept that Creekview defense on the field a lot here, the majority of this third quarter, and now it's up to Creekview to respond. The worst thing that could happen for the Grizzlies right now is a 3-and-out and putting your defense right back out there on the field. They've got to try to find a way to get some first downs here.
Yeah, Etowah had to put some points on the board there. They kind of risked that with the rollout and the sack, but they had to get points on the board. Great 38-yard field goal there. Now, Creekview's got to think about how they're going to play this thing out. They just haven't had success, really, any of their play calls about the last 10 minutes.
Carson Allen set to be the place kicker here. Checks his line. And toe meets leather, and the Eagles are bred new life as they finally get some points on the board. And the Grizzlies will go ahead and give that one a touchback. It's high school rules, so as soon as a player catches the ball in the end zone, it is ruled a touchback. So Brody Rhodes going to have to come back out with 3 minutes left on the third quarter.
Yeah, from the 20-yard line. That's about their best field position of the night, their own 20. They've been inside the 10, inside the 15 several times here over the last couple of series. We know how explosive, the Grizzlies are, and they've got to find a little bit of that. Their offense has kind of been sitting on the sideline. We talked about, getting late in this ball game. We're flirting with the fourth quarter now, and, here we are in this heat, and it's going to be interesting to see which team kind of is able to hold out here because one play may very well make this one.
Rhodes, the quarterback, pistol formation, sends a man in motion. That's Dawson Curry rolling out to the outside. And the running back is tackled right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, that Etowah defense is getting more and more confident. That play earlier was going for 5 and 6, and now they're meeting them at the line of scrimmage. I'm really surprised we haven't seen Andrew Cloy tonight. Just not been a factor, and the entire air game has not been a factor.
Right, got to get Rhodes doing something. He likes to be involved in the run game. The Grizzlies wanted to be him a little less involved in the run game. He was the leading rusher for the Grizzlies last year, which isn't particularly what you would like to see out of your starting quarterback. But he is joined by a whole stable of running backs, A.J. Vaccaro, Cole Hasty, Tyler Stevens, just to name a few. And it's a pass out the middle, and it's in the breadbasket and dropped. It looked like that was intended for A.J. Vaccaro, I believe, out there in the flat. It was a good slant play. Excuse me, that was Hayden Thompson.
That was Thompson, the tight end, hit him right in the chest, too. Right at the first down marker, he makes that catch, and it's a first down or awfully close to it. Turned around and, good execution right there, just didn't finish it. And so now all of a sudden, Creekview at 3rd and 9 and threatening, 3 and out right here if Etowah can make a stop.
Creekview coming back out in a shotgun formation. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Tight end's moved out as a wide receiver now. It's a bootleg to the left side. Rhodes rolling and just fires it right at the Etowah head coach, Matt Kemper. And that's good enough for a 4th down. So that'll bring up a punting situation for the Grizzlies.
Well, I said, like Vaughn, I talked about. I mean, it's a situation where they're rolling them out. There's one receiver in the area who's double covered. He just, Rhodes has nowhere to throw the football when he rolls out. And Etowah's doing a nice job of containing and kind of keeping him in sideline to sideline. So hasn't allowed him those running lanes to be able to pick up those big chunks of yardage. Great coverage downfield. Nowhere to go with the ball. They're just having to throw it away.
So the punt formation here. Punt is up, and it's a line drive yet again. It's going to be fielded right at the 50-yard line. Look out. 45-40 makes a man miss. 35. 30, flag on the near side of the field. And it's down at the 25-yard line. We'll have to keep an eye on the flag, but that was Trevor Fair there on the return.
Well, that was a short punt that time, and he nearly outkicked his coverage, because the guys were going down the field thinking that ball was kicked into the middle of the field. Trevor Fair catches it over on the numbers over here on the near sideline, and he was already, inside a couple of the gunners that were headed down there. And depending on what this penalty is, which was thrown early on the other side of the field over on at the 20 on the other side, this may have been a hold on Creekview on the punt. Somebody may have come shooting through there, so they may be tacking this on. It looks like it will be on them. So Etowah may very well have this ball inside the 20-yard line to open this drive.
Got to make something happen here. Field goals are good. It's a pre-snap penalty, but they'll go ahead and decline it.
So you're starting this drive on the 25-yard line. I think this is another situation where you don't want to come away with 3. You'd love to get the touchdown, but either way, as long as you take care of the football and you don't go backwards, with the leg that Carson Allen has, as we saw earlier in that 39-yard field goal, they're already in his range right now. So, that definitely opens things up here a little bit. Now the pressure's on the Creekview defense. They've been out there most of this quarter.
Right you are. So let's see. Will Curcio comes back in. Clivert Minnie joins him behind him. 3 wide receivers besides him and 1 tight end. Will shouting orders. Gets the snap. Hand to Clivert. Makes a few men miss. Look out. Keeps pushing forward. It's going to be close to a first down.
That's about 4 or 5 times they've run that on first down, and they've gotten 3, 4, and they're almost 9, 10 yards. That's huge for a young quarterback, is to give them that 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6 instead of putting them behind the chains.
best first down play of the night, 9 yards, and now all of a sudden, as long as you're taking care of things, you've got the opportunity right here to move the sticks and open up the playbook even a little bit.
Will, once again, the quarterback. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Same formation as last time. Handoff to Clivert. Once again, same play right up the middle. And it'll be good enough for about 2 yards that time, or maybe even just a yard. But still, no negative play is a good play. And it'll be good enough for a first down right there. So move those chains. 1st and 10, fresh set of downs. Ball spotted right at the 15-yard line.
Well, they've been going to Clivert Mini, just kind of putting it on his back and letting him chip away right here. They're going Coach Kemper with the experience of Clivert there in the backfield, and he's been able to chip away. He seems to have a little bit fresher legs maybe here, and Creekview's defense trying to catch up.
Will, handoff once again to Clivert. Makes a few men miss. Barreling down. Close to the 10-yard line. Call it the 11-yard line. Bring up a 2nd and 6.
That young offensive line all of a sudden has got a little attitude, and it looks like they're getting a little bit more confident as this game goes on. They weren't making holes like that in the first half, and they're kind of just pinning their ears back and doing it.
Yeah, this Creekview defense, they're feeling it a little bit right now. I mean, they're a little winded. They're moving around a little bit, but not with the same pep.
The Atlanta Braves tied on a Freddie Freeman grand slam, the first of his career at 7-7 in the 5th.
Wow.
Will, the quarterback. Clivert once again on the run. Not much doing on that one either. A gain of maybe a half yard. Bring up a 3rd and 5.
Inside a minute here this third quarter, and you got to wonder, is it a 4-down situation? They walk away with the 3 here, depending on what happens. I mean, this is a big third down play for both sides right here, because if Creekview, you got to make a stop. If you're Etowah and you're down there at a 4th and a yard or so, you take the points, you take the play, but we'll see what happens right here.
Lots of hands on hips for the Grizzlies defense. They've been out there for quite a while in this hot third quarter. Will barking orders. You might have guessed it. It's Clivert right up the middle. And, boy, he's going to be close to a first down. Real close. They needed the 5, and it looks like he's going to be stopped just a yard short. Bring up 4th and 1.
And here's that decision we're talking about with the game the way it is, and they'll have a little time to think about it here as we hit the end of the quarter.
We're headed to the end of the third quarter. When we come back, we'll bring you the 4th quarter action. It's 7-3. No reason to go anywhere now. Stick with us, folks. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
I want to make sure that your money outlives you and that you don't outlive your money. Hi, I'm Dave Garner, your local Woodman Life representative. When I'm not broadcasting, I'm doing my best as a poverty prevention specialist to help protect families from financial hardship. Call or visit me online today and see how I can help you and your family stay protected through needs-based life insurance and retirement options. Insurance protection, financial security. That's Woodman Life, standing strong for over 130 years.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
When you are the official sponsor of the comeback, adding a few feet to a drive matters.
First down.
So does shaving 1/10 of a second off a lap. Top-rated surgery, physical therapy, and motion analysis by the sports medicine team at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta helps young athletes not only prevent injuries, but heal faster and return stronger, ready to win. Our more than 25 orthopedic and sports medicine locations are ready to assist your athlete's comeback. To learn more, visit choa.org/sportsmed.
And now here's a message from Canton Tire and Wheel in Canton.
Canton Tire and Wheel, Canton Tire and Wheel. We've got great tires and we've got great deals. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Caden. We're Mr. Danny's grandsons. We're working the jingle now for Cantar and Will. They take care of all your automotive service needs. Be sure to tell Mr. Steve and my poppy you heard us on the radio next time you call Cantar and Will at 770-479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Cantar and Will.
We're having a few minor technical difficulties at the moment. We'll keep it here in a small commercial break, and we'll go to some music until we get the high school football back on the air. Stay with us. We'll get this fixed shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the furniture store in Akron, Hiram, and Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
Hi, I'm Dave Garner.
And I'm Janet Mueller.
And we're your local Woodman Life representatives.
You know, Dave, it must be tough announcing games and still providing financial security through life insurance, retirement, and member benefits.
Well, Janet, it's an honor, but it means that I have a great partner when it comes to protecting families from financial hardship.
So come see us.
Or call us at 706-273-9347.
Or 770-894-7898.
And find out how Woodman Life can help you leave memories, not expenses. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman, but she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
Welcome back to WLJA. You're listening to the Cherokee County Game of the Week. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to still do our best to bring you some high school football. I'm Will Cooper, joined alongside Dave Garner. And right now, the Etowah Eagles are knocking on the doorstep of the Creekview Grizzlies. They went forward on a 4th down, and were able to convert. So now they are set up right in the red zone. It's 2nd and 3 from the 3rd-yard line.
Yeah, 2nd down and goal. Right here for Etowah as the Fiber Mini reached out on that 4th down play and put the ball right on the 5-yard line by inches. So here we go, 2nd and goal, Will. Will, the quarterback,
turns around, hands it off to Cliver yet again. He's getting a push forward. It's going to be real close. He's going to be stopped right at the 1-yard line to bring up a 3rd and 1 for the Eagles.
Yeah, 3rd down and goal right here.
We've got an injured Grizzly on the field.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, it's just a crazy sequence right there as we were trying to come back on the air there, Will. And, of course, coming over the phone line right now, so we hope the folks can still hear us loud and clear. But, man, Etowah again with the player, Creekview with the player down right now. But just a crazy sequence of plays, over the last couple of minutes there. 4th down and 1 coming out of the quarter to start this 4th quarter. Creekview lead at 7-3 right here. But Etowah with an opportunity to take the lead with just under 11 minutes here left in this ball game.
All right, guys. So we're back finally on the Comrex. So you've got us in real time as well. So we're going to keep it on the phone.
Master Control, switch things over. He's a great guy. There we go. We're back. Woo. Okay. Right. Sorry about that, folks. So thank you guys for being patient with us. We appreciate you. And to bring it back, let's give Vaughn a score update. Vaughn, what you got?
Sequoia Chiefs on the board, cut it to 28-21 over at Skip Pope. 5:45 left in the game. 28-21 Woodstock.
All right, keep an eye on them. The injured Grizzly on the play was 52 Anthony Dorr. So we'll have to keep an eye on that young man moving forward. Another score update.
It sounds like Michael Collins. Coach Collins has kind of gone to the backups, gotten the starters out. 43-14 over there.
Gotcha.
3rd down and goal right here, though, Will. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. Let's see. Will, the quarterback. Clivert Minnie, the running back. It's a handoff to Clivert. He's got it. Touchdown, Eagles. Wow. So just like that, the Eagles go for it on 4th down and convert the touchdown, and they are going up by 3. Pending the extra point, it's 9-7 in favor of the Eagles. Holy cow. We have a football game, folks, with 10:40 left on the Nissan Sutherland scoreboard. You can keep your radio dials parked right here because we got a lot more football to bring you. But a good play and a good drive for the Eagles.
You know, it's when we said coming out of the half, what's Etowah going to do to find a rhythm? I think we figured it out. They're going to go up the gut with Cliver Minnie, and that offensive line is taking control.
Yeah, unbelievable job. They're starting to wear down, this Creekview front like we talked about, and we've seen it here on this last drive or two.
Carson Allen kick way up and way good. So it's 10-7, 10:40 left. The Grizzlies are going to need to put together a long drive to give this defense time to recover, guys.
Yeah, that's something they have. They've touched the ball basically one time, really, in this half. And they had a 3-and-out because of the penalty that got them behind schedule. So, Creekview's offense now all of a sudden is starting to struggle. After being able to run the football in the first half, they had success on the ground. But now they find themselves down by 3 because they've just not been able to sustain long drives, and they haven't won the battle of field possession. I mean, you can't stress that enough tonight. Etowah, despite some of the offensive lapses and the penalties and things that have gotten them behind schedule, they've been able to win the battle of field position. And when it's hard to march 80 yards on this Etowah defense the way they're playing tonight. So now all of a sudden, if you're Creekview for the first time tonight, you find yourself trailing in this ball game to a revamped Etowah team, and now all of a sudden the Eagles have all the momentum.
Yeah, it's almost like we were looking for Creekview to do what Etowah just did and just pound it down their throats. Instead of Creekview doing it, the Eagles come out and take that formula right down the field and just make keep the quarterbacks in comfortable situations.
So here we go. Carson Allen set to send it deep. We got a football game, folks. It's Friday Night Lights. Can't believe it's back. We're so glad it's back. We love doing this, and we're thankful that you made it a part of your day today. Hopefully it lifts your spirits just a little bit to know that things are getting back to normal here in the real world. And toe meets leather, and we're back underway. And the Grizzlies are going to take this out of the end zone. That'll be a touchback. So the Grizzlies will set up shop at the 20-yard line.
10:40 to go here in the ball game, 3-point game, and now the complexion of this thing has changed for both these teams here. Now Etowah playing with a lead, for the first time this year here in the fourth quarter on their home turf. And you got to wonder how motivated this is going to be. Now, one thing we haven't seen is a lot of downfield shots here tonight. So if you're Etowah secondary, you got to be really weary of anything because now Creekview's in a situation where they can really no longer just be conservative. They're going to have to open things up here a little bit and take a shot.
Yeah, I think you got to look for Cloy or Dawson Curry right now to come up and make a big play. I mean, the run game's kind of stalled, so I think you may see something downfield.
Pistol formation. One back behind Rhodes. And it's a handoff all the way. Not doing much, a gain of about a yard or two. And bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. Whitecamp in on the tackle there.
And some bigger bodies, for Etowah up front. Plugging holes, plugging gaps. Trying to force this Creekview team to do something a little bit different, but the sprint out has not been there tonight. So both these defenses really have done a great job in reacting and really keeping things sideline to sideline and don't seem to be wearing down much at all.
Anthony Dorr back in the game for the Grizzlies, so good news there. I formation set up here. 3 wide receivers. Sends a man in motion. That's Hayden Thompson in motion, the tight end. He sets a 3-point stance. The snap, play action. Bootleg out to the right-hand side. He rolls, finds a man. That's A.J. Vaccaro. He slips and falls right at the 26-yard line. So a gain of a few. It'll set up 3rd and manageable. Let's call it 3rd and 4.
When you have a big offensive line, late in the game, you can kind of just lean on people and fall on people. When you don't, when you have that smaller offensive line, you got to stay active and keep moving. It just looks like Creekview just doesn't have that same momentum from the offensive line as they did early in the game.
Yeah, and Vaccaro, had some room in front of him there, but lost his footing over there on that far sideline. If he's able to turn that up, he probably picks up the first down. But as it is, a few yards, and it's 3rd and 4.
So here we go. Rhodes, shotguns, takes the snap, looking for a man. He's got him, and it's dropped. Oh, boy. That was intended for Andrew Cloy. Not a great pass anyway. But now the Grizzlies are going to be forced to do something here. Decision time. It's 4th and 4. So
yeah, they're going to
punt.
punt.
Team comes back on, which for the Grizzly defense is no good because that's not a lot of rest time.
Well, their offense certainly hadn't helped them out. That's a great point, Will. I mean, here in the second half, they've been 3 and out a couple of times. And, we know that there's not that many drives in a game like this where you're keeping the ball on the ground, and that clock is just continuing to run. Still over 9 minutes left here in this ball game, but we know how quick things have gone. So if you're Creekview, you really realistically only have a couple possessions left here in this ball game.
So here we go, punt back. It's a high punt, got it right off the top of his foot, not a very good one. And that's going out of bounds. Oh, boy. Let's see where he stops walking to. We're walking from the 45 to the 40, still walking. And the 35, here we go. There's the 31. Wow.
That's a 5-yard punt.
You talk about turnovers, field position. I don't know if I've ever seen a game this lopsided in true field position. I mean, Creekview has been pinned almost since the start of the second quarter, and Etowah's been starting in this kind of shape right here. Are we going to see Clivert Mini right up the gut again?
Clivert doesn't come out in the formation. It looks like it's going to be our good friend Martinez coming back out. Will, the quarterback. So Will's kind of taken over as the second half quarterback. Don't count Braden out. We may see him later, but Will Curcio right now is doing the duty there. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and the running back Martinez. It's a pass all the way. Slid out for Remington Adams. He makes a man miss. Look out. And a couple of Grizzlies bring him down. Just was able to shake Cale Williams out there on the outside. And looks like that was a couple of Grizzlies out there on the tackle. Ty Hubert helped for sure.
But you got to break down right there. That time the DB came up to play that ball. They thought Remington was going to break towards the sideline, but he stuck his foot in the turf and cut back in, and that freed him up to pick up about 5-6 yards there on first down.
Eagles staying out on the field, trying to hurry up as much as possible. Bunch formation to the near side of the field, 1 lone wide receiver to the top. It's a handoff to Clivert. Yet again, that's bottled up, going nowhere. Grant Anderson in on the tackle.
Yeah, that time the Grizzlies blew it up in there. He had number 21, Isaac Hubert, as well, shooting through there. We've called his name all night long, as we thought we would and kind of expected. And it's really the usual suspects, really, for both sides here, particularly on that Creekview defense that have made plays. And now you're 3rd and 6 again if you're Etowah. Manageable situation. We saw them in this situation earlier a series ago, and they were able to convert. So I don't know. Depending on what happens right here, it may be another 4-down territory situation.
I think you're going to see a throw up to Rex Steiner right now.
He checked back into the game. He's going up single against Peyton Parker.
Nope.
It's a run. That's going nowhere. So a gain of about 1.
Yeah, I think they were trying to fake what you guys were talking, looking downfield, setting things up a little bit, and trying to, get slip, Clivert Mini through there and pick up the first down, but Creekview's defense was having none of that. They shut the door there in a hurry off the left tackle.
So Carson Allen coming on to kick. Braden Bohannon, the holder. This looks like he'll take a knee right at about the 38-yard line. Remember, he made a 39-yarder very easily. 33, even easier.
A 43-yarder right here.
Kick is up. It's got plenty of leg, and it's right down the middle.
Wow.
So that's good for a field goal. That young man's got the leg for a 50-yarder easy. So that's 13-7 in favor of the Eagles. Still a one-possession game. Vaughn, you got an update.
Yeah, we've got Jaden Mitchell taking one into the house for the Sequoia Chiefs. We've got a tie ball game over there, folks. 3:07 to play, 28-28, Woodstock and Sequoia.
28-28.
Tell you what, man, some close games here in this first official week. Man, you got to love it. Cherokee County High School football, a lot of eyes are on it here tonight, as they were on Wednesday night all over the state at Cherokee. But then you got a couple other big ball games here. We're seeing this one here play out here tonight between Etowah and Creekview, and, of course, Woodstock and Sequoia just up the road. But, this is a big drive right here, obviously, in this ball game. 7:03 left, and, if you're Creekview, you almost feel like you've got to make something happen on this drive, because here's the thing. You go another 3 and out, you give Etowah the field position, and you let Carson Allen hit another 43-yard field goal, and now all of a sudden it's a 2-possession game. And if you're Creekview, you're scoring twice. So this drive right here is very critical, if nothing else, to establish a little bit of field position to get it out of their own end. And that's something that they just haven't been able to do much here in the second half, as this Etowah offense is starting to wear down the Grizzly defense a little bit.
Backups over at Lassiter still pouring it on. 49-14, the Knights on another touchdown run.
All right.
They might be breaking some records tonight over there.
At least school records, that's for sure. Carson Allen ready to meet for his toe to meet the leather, as he just converted a 43-yard field goal, and it does. A nice kick, and that'll be back in the end zone as well. So the Grizzlies shut up shop at the 20. We got 7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Will, we talk a lot about the skill position players of Creekview, and they've made a lot of plays in the kicking game. Over the last couple of years. You talk about Cloy, and you talk about some of these guys. Allen, has been the biggest weapon on the field tonight. I mean, he hasn't allowed really a return. I mean, everything that he's done has been 2-3 yards deep in the end zone. Touchbacks have not allowed the Grizzlies to start past their 20-yard line really in this ball game.
Alabama should offer him a scholarship. Here we go, I formation. Hayden Thompson sent over to the other side of the formation. 2 wide receivers. And it's a handoff once again. Makes a little bit to the outside, 25, tiptoes, close to the 30-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Well, move back to the 28. Vaughn, go ahead.
Woodstock ran it right down the field. They're on the 3-yard line. 1:06 to play. They're on the Sequoia 3 tie ball game, 28-28.
Wow, how about that? Well, you got 2 games, inter-county games going on tonight that are both within a possession getting late in the ball game. And that just says a lot about the competition level here in Cherokee County.
Ty Stevens was on that carry for a gain of 8, 2nd and 2. I formation yet again. That's a handoff to A.J. Vaccaro, the listed fullback, and that's good enough for a first down.
Vaccaro just right up the middle that time, getting behind that offensive line, trying to establish a little bit. If nothing else, I mean, Creekview's offense should be somewhat rested, particularly offensive line along the front. So, again, it'll be interesting.
Vaughn?
Touchdown Woodstock, under a minute to play. Preston Lawrence on the keeper puts Woodstock up 35-28, under a minute.
All right. If Sequoia's going to answer, they got to do it in a hurry. Same thing with the Grizzlies here. 6 minutes and about 30 seconds, a little bit above that. I formation's what they're sticking with on the first down. 2 back-to-back runs. Maybe this is the 12-run possession that Vaughn was predicting earlier. Thompson moves to the other side of the formation. Strong to the left side. This time it's a pass. Not happening. He's going one-on-one. He's got a man out there, and it's going to be incomplete, but a pass interference flag comes in late. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think he got some hands on him over there on the far sideline, and that's one of those where as a DB you've got to turn around and try to locate the football. If you don't, in that situation, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get that flag thrown on you if there's any type of contact whatsoever. And
that's the 5'8" Carlos Thornton going up against the 6'2" Andrew Cloy.
Yep.
And unfortunately for him, that's quite a height difference, and that's what made the difference. Let's see who they call the pass interference on. An eligible man downfield on the Grizzlies, so they will offset, and we will replay the first down. So a big break for the Eagles. So very interesting. Normally that happens on an RPO team, but that was really just a play-action pass, which also, for people that don't know, on the run plays, you ask your offensive lineman to run upfield to create blocks. So to simulate that, you do the same thing. And on a play-action pass, if you take too long to get the ball off, sometimes you can get those offensive linemen beyond that 3-yard line that they're allowed to be.
Yeah, tough situation right there.
But no harm done for either side. 1st and 10, ball still on the 30. They're getting out of the I formation now, going to a sub-pistol formation. Clock starts. Rolling close to 6 minutes here. Tyler Stevens on the carry. He's upended by a good tackle out there. That was Recksteiner on the tackle. So a gain of about 4, close to 5. Ball on the 34-yard line, 2nd and 6.
Well, we saw Creekview take a shot, a play before there, of course, against the far sideline. They come back with the run there and trying to wear this Etowah defense down a little bit. They're running a lot of plays towards the sideline. We saw Tyler Stevens come to the near side a moment ago and actually got the edge and turned the corner for 8 yards. And we're trying to see this Creekview offense now trying to create some space and try to make this Etowah defense work a little bit.
Rhodes, pistol formation, stacked receivers to the top. Hayden Thompson, the tight end. Actually, A.J. Vaccaro in at tight end now. Low snap, but handled. Tyler Stevens, once again, carries it for a gain of about 4 from there. So call it 3rd and 2. And this is really what the Grizzlies wanted to do to begin the game, and that's run the ball effectively.
We talked about these tackles. Sam Hartley, I just saw him keep a block about 4 or 5 yards down the field there, staying on and latching on until the whistle. That's what you like to see, a good effort right there.
5'10", 230-pound junior offensive lineman for the Grizzlies. Once again, the Grizzlies extremely young on the offensive line, but also a little bit undersized as well. But there comes a flag.
And that was another hard count there by Rhodes. Drew the Etowah defense into the neutral zone, Will.
So a free first down. Move those chains. The Grizzlies are in business, and they'll move it all the way out to the 43-yard line. So a slow, methodical drive right now for the Grizzlies, building up a little bit of excitement. And the Eagles right now hoping to pin their ears back and keep them out of their own territory. They split the huddle. Once again, the power formation. Excuse me, this is going to be a typical shotgun with 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 1 wide receiver. It's a handoff all the way. He's got some blocks on the outside. Look out. And he's across the 50 down to the 49-yard line. A Grizzlies helmet comes off. That's number 67, Sam Hartley, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, a big hit right there, though, on the tackle there. I think Trevor Fair came up, and he may have gotten the worst end of that one. I don't know. But, boy, there was a big collision there right at the midfield stripe. And sets up 2nd and short right here after that gain of 8. And, as this clock winds down inside 4.5 minutes to go, this crowd certainly getting a little bit more anxious on both sides here. Even at 25% capacity, man, they're still making some noise out here.
And there is a good-sized crowd here at Etowah. Etowah is filled out very nicely for 25%. Looks pretty full. Obviously, a lot of social distancing going on. Victory formation. Handoff to Stevens, the lone back. Stevens carries it out way past the first down marker. Good enough. Move those chains. And the Grizzlies are set up at the 43-yard line.
Well, this is exactly what Creekview needed. It's what the doctor ordered. They needed to sustain a drive out of their own end, something they haven't really done the entire half. 7-0 lead at halftime, and since then, Etowah scored 13 unanswered on 3 scoring drives, and the Grizzlies just haven't been able to get out of their own way. And so finally being able to sustain a drive right here, now they're the ones that have Etowah's defense a little bit on their heels here, and they'd love to punch this thing down here and run about 3.5 with this 3:46 left and then punch it in.
Getting a good rest for the Creekview defense. Victory formation yet again. Hand off to the left side. Stevens lone back, and that's wrapped up going nowhere. That's big old number 30 out there. Tim Jones, we've called his name quite a lot for the Eagles out there on the tackle.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting earlier in the first half, to just grind it out and see if you could have some long, sustained drives and get in the end zone. They're waiting to under 5 minutes to do it, and that clock's ticking. They're running out of time.
Well, it's been it's a game of momentum every week, as we know, and there's so many lulls even in a high school football game at 12-minute quarters, and you see, up and down, and you got to be able to ride those up and downs, and you got to wonder if Creekview's experience and a little bit of their maturity might be coming into play here.
Everybody remaining calm. This was out on the outside and cut down. Let's see. Oh, Sam Hartley once again has to come off with a helmet off.
Yep. Quick pass there to Cloy, though, a yard or two maybe out in the flat, nothing big, but still a completion. We haven't, as you mentioned, Will, we haven't called his name a lot here tonight. 22 finally getting his hands on the football a little bit, but, credit that to Etowah's defense. The corners have played up tight all night long, just really haven't given these Grizzly receivers a lot of room to work. But it may very well be one of those guys that makes a big play right here and may have to on a 3rd down and 8 now all of a sudden.
3rd and long. 3 wide receivers split out, 1 tight end. Tyler Stevens joining Brody as at the quarterback position. Brody has plenty of time. Good blocking. Rolls out to his right-hand side. He's looking for the run. He's got a little bit of room. He lowers the shoulder, and he's got the first down. Oh, boy. He got the weak end of that spot. It's going to be real close.
Yeah, I think he's just about a half yard shy there, Will. It looks like where he went out of bounds where they're marking him. So it will be 4th and short right here. And now if you're Creekview, it's a decision where you're down in the game. There's not really much of a decision right here. You've got to go for it here.
Score update, Vaughn.
Interception, return for a touchdown for Woodstock. So it looks like that 42-28 may be the final over at Skip Pope Stadium.
All right. And Trevor Williams is going to take a timeout to talk this one over with his team. We'll take a timeout and talk it over with our team. We'll take a 1-minute break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packerland Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Canton, Woodstock, and all of North Georgia.
4th and 1 here for the Grizzlies. Rhodes takes the snap. Never mind. Checks over to the offensive line first. And now it's going to be another timeout. Back-to-back timeout from the Grizzlies.
Wow. Well, they saw something they didn't like right there. 4th down and 1, trailing by 6 with 2:15 to go. Etowah digging in there, and we thought that it was awfully close on that last play there as Brody, of course, scrambled around the outside and was able to take it inside the 35, but he's about a half yard shy. He needed to get right to the 33, and the ball on the 33.5 wheel. So, situation right here where you got to go for it, obviously, with just 2:15 left. But, if Etowah could somehow make a big stop right here, then all of a sudden, wow, that could be the ball game. You look at it, I think Creekview may still have a time. I think both teams still have a timeout apiece. So, yeah, this is the game, and I know that's why Trevor Williams called the timeout right here, because he realizes that he's got to get this right.
What a first Friday night in Cherokee County.
What a first
Incredible.
Friday night.
I do want to give a shout-out to the cheerleading squads down there, still, doing their thing in this heat. The Etowah side, Laurel, Holly, Kate O'Brien, not just great cheerleaders, they're sisters. Holly Kate's let's go back to play here.
We'll finish that in just a minute. Victory formation here, power formation as Dave calls it. Rhodes turning around. You have to assume they're going to the run. Eagles load the box, and he fumbles the snap. He's trying to get outside. He's got a blocker. He's got the first down. He's going to get through it. What an unbelievable play from Brody Rhodes. Wow. Talking about picking the ball up off the turf. He fumbled the snap, had a few blockers on the outside, moved those chains. The Grizzlies are not done yet. New life here for the Grizzlies.
Man, boy, they had him right where they wanted him to. I mean, a low snap there. He picks it up off the ground, and a couple of blue shirts made contact around the ankles, but somehow or another he was able to keep his feet and was able to dance past the first down marker. So fresh set of downs here with 2:09 to play, and Creekview trailing by 6 to Etowah.
Big drive here. Obviously, people getting down here to thinking this might be the last time the Grizzlies will see the football. Rhodes, shotgun formation. Hands it off to the left-hand side. Not much doing. Gain of about 2 there. And looks like that's Hasty once again on the carry. Or excuse me, Tyler Stevens on the carry on that one.
Well, you're inside 2 minutes now with one timeout, I think, apiece. So, I mean, this is the game right here. I mean, whatever's going to happen, if Creekview's going to win this football game, they're going to have to score right here. Conversely, if you're Etowah, if you can force a turnover, which that ball's been kind of flowing around freely there a little bit tonight, you force a turnover right here, that's the ball game. So here we go.
Especially the snaps haven't been especially clean.
You're right.
Even that 4th down play. So here we go. A minute 30, clock still rolling. Play clock down to 5. Rhodes surveys, checks the play clock, gets the snap, keeps it himself, runs outside. It was a fake to Stevens, bounces it outside yet again, makes a few men miss, and he'll gain a few yards out there and run out of bounds to stop the clock. 3rd and manageable coming up.
And he probably is their best chance to break one. It probably is Brody just trying to get out in some space, because he does have some wheels, and he's trying to take that Ethan Durham role right now and maybe bust one.
And one of the Eagle defenders had a perfect angle at him and still wasn't able to get there. So even this late in the ball game, Rhodes appears fresh with his legs, and maybe a situation right here where, we talked about it coming into the game. You don't necessarily want your quarterback. You don't want a guy like him necessarily being your leading rusher, but it may be that they put the game in his hands right now and ask him to make a play with either his arm or his legs.
Forget about what you want to do. You really need to win the game. Here we go. Shotgun. Hand it right up to Stevens. That's going for a gain of a few, but he'll be stopped right at the 20-yard line, so it's going to be 4th and 1. So the Grizzlies once again with 1 minute, 5, 4, clock still rolling. Let's see. Yep, 4th down. So clock under a minute here, and the Grizzlies are going to go ahead and call their final timeout. We'll take one with them to catch our breath. 30 seconds. We'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Dave Garner,
And I'm Janet Mueller.
and we're your local Woodman Life representatives.
You know, Dave, it must be tough announcing games and still providing financial security through life insurance, retirement, and member benefits.
Well, Janet, it's an honor, but it means that I have a great partner when it comes to protecting families from financial hardship.
So come see us.
Or call us at 706-273-9347.
Or 770-894-7898.
And find out how Woodman Life can help you leave memories, not expenses. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
When you read Enjoy Cherokee magazine, you'll find features about interesting people, pleasing places, and exciting events. Find out more about shopping in Canton, dining in Woodstock, living in Holly Springs, exploring in Ball Ground. There's always some new and refreshing ideas between the pages of Enjoy Cherokee. Enjoy Cherokee is available in most high-traffic locations and mailed free to thousands of homes throughout Cherokee County. For your free subscription, check us out on Facebook and find past issues on EnjoyCherokee.com. Enjoy Cherokee, Cherokee County's favorite magazine.
Welcome back to the Eagles Nest here in Woodstock. We've got quite a game for you. It's 13-7 with 55 seconds left. The Grizzlies just burned their final timeout of the game. And it is to try and convert this 4th down and 1 or 2.
Wow. This Cherokee County game of the week right here playing out. We've had 2 inter-county games come down to the final possession, and this one's going to do it too.
Here we go. Game on the line. Rhodes takes the snap, turns around, hands it to Stevens. He's got a few blockers. Whoa, boy, it's going to be real close.
He lost his footing right at the first down marker. This is going to depend on the spot.
It's on the Creekview sideline if you're one of those people that believes that. And, boy. Real quiet still. There's a flag. Uh-oh. A flag comes in way late.
Yeah, I'm not sure if somebody, there wasn't any, both huddles had separated.
I wonder if a coach said something. Sideline warning, maybe. This is big. Now they pick up the flag.
Let's see what we got right here. It's a big call.
Looking for the white cap. There he is. Let's see what he says. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Etowah. Oh, dear. And unsportsmanlike conduct on Etowah. Didn't matter what the play resulted in. It's going to be a first down.
Well, those are the kind of. I'm trying to look down there to see what was going on there, and boy, there's one of those that'll drive you crazy.
Yikes.
And I'm not sure, they never really made an indication whether it was a first down or not. But now all of a sudden, Creekview's back up on the line right here, 1st and goal
at the 10. So here we go. Clock will resume. 49 seconds and counting. Rhodes, snap, handoff. Stevens breaks a few tackles, going nowhere in a hurry. He got about 4 yards, but the Grizzlies have to hurry. Only got 35 seconds left. Grizzlies looking over to the sideline. 30 seconds, clock still rolling.
Boy, they're losing a lot of time here.
Not in any hurry. 20 seconds. Rhodes turns around, hands it off yet again. That's going nowhere. They're going to have to do something quick. 15 seconds.
They're going to have to burn that timeout, and they do.
So they had one more timeout. So they burn it here. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 6. So with 14 seconds left, makes you wonder why they didn't call it on the first play, Dave.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's one of those things. They let a lot of time run down, about 20 seconds in between the play there. And, situation right here, I mean, you're on the 6-yard line, and you know that, Etowah's been strong up the middle. I don't think you're going to be able to run the football right here. I think they're going to have to take a shot, maybe 2 into the end zone. You got 14 seconds. There's plenty of time, certainly, to throw the ball in there twice. But, a situation where, you don't make it right, or you keep it on the ground, or you throw it a little bit short and you don't make it in there. That's probably the ball game. I'm not sure. I don't think they've got any timeouts left, do they?
I didn't think they had that one, to be honest with you.
Sequoia did make it interesting over at Skip Pope. Jaden Mitchell, a long touchdown reception, made it 41-35, but that is a final. It is finally a final at Skip Pope. Woodstock, 41-35.
All right. So there you go. The Wolverines claim their first victory of the season. Sequoia will travel over to Cherokee next week to try and find their first one of the season. Once again, the Warriors claim their first victory against the Carver Panthers from Atlanta on Wednesday, 38-16 over there. Or 12, excuse me. 12.
Wow, what an exciting game
What a
right here,
game.
though. I mean, I tell you what, it's just one of those things, and looks like we've got a final. It looks like the Dragons were able to beat the Bobcats 17-8 tonight, so Pickens keeps the streak
alive.
going over Gilmer there, but a well-played ball game. Looking forward to seeing what those two will be doing this year.
Here we go. The Eagles fans gets on their feet, so we'll do the same to make sure we can see it. Rhodes, 3 wide receivers split out. Keep in mind, 3rd and goal. He rolls out to the right-hand side. It's a screenplay all the way. He's got a whole wide open field. The Grizzlies are going to score. Oh, my goodness, Tyler Stevens. And the referee is signaling something. I guess he was telling him to get off the field, but just like that with 6 seconds left, it's 13-13. Pending the extra point, the Grizzlies will take the lead. Oh, my goodness,
Wow.
What a play call from this offensive coordinating position. And Etowah is going to go ahead and take a timeout to discuss what they want to do.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot of time left to do much anything. I mean, you've got the return and then maybe one more play depending on how it goes here. But, boy, a situation where Creekview, again, just an excellent, well-designed, well-executed play. They sprinted Rhodes to the right and then threw back across the formation. And Cloy was just wide open with 2 blockers in front of him that basically escorted him into the end zone there. And just one of the few misdirection plays that we've seen here tonight. I mean, neither team has really thrown anything much at the other except for just straight-ahead, hard-nosed football. And so, again, Creekview going to their bag of tricks here on 3rd and goal with 14 seconds left. And, again, that was just one of those plays where you could see they were setting something up because as soon as Rhodes rolled to his right, there were all kinds of blue shirts coming out of nowhere, and you kind of could see that whole thing kind of forming. The peel back there, and then it was a numbers game at that point. Just one blue shirt over there against 3 white shirts, and Creekview able to punch it in here.
Yeah, Tyler had an army over there leading him in, and there was literally one defender for the Eagles.
So here we go. Point after attempt coming up here. You might have heard this before, but Dawson Curry is the extra point kicker. Kick is up, and it's good. So the Eagles will now have to do something. So the scoreboard now reflects it. There we go. It's 14-13 in favor of the Grizzlies with 6 seconds left. Wow.
Well, that was a huge extra point. It goes without saying right there. And, it's just one of those games where, Creekview had the advantage early in this ball game, put the score up, 7-0. And that's where it was at halftime. And then the second half basically has been dominated by Etowah. Field position, yards, score. I mean, they've had 3 scores here in the second half, but 2 field goals, though. And, it's one of those things where it's a situation where, if they would love to have had one of those series back to maybe go for it, try to get a touchdown out of one of those. But here, down at the end, when the Grizzlies needed a drive in this ball game, they were able to sustain their only drive of the second half. They were able to punch it down there and score when they needed to, and just a remarkable effort by a Creekview team that really looked like they were kind of down and out, here late in this ball game.
Yeah, I mean, they finally put it on the ground, knowing the clock was ticking. They trusted that run game and that offensive line to bow back up. And, they got most of those yards on the ground all the way down between Brody and Tyler, and then get down and make a very creative. And you like to see that, you don't just want to see the standby running up the gut and see what you get. That was a creative play call that gave them a gimme touchdown.
To give Jake Martin some credit on that one right there, offensive coordinator. Boy, They knew they had to throw something out. You knew they had to go into the end zone. They had to do something different, than they had done all night long. And I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that throughout the evening. But first week
comes off the field. I believe that's number 61, Michael Bird Scott.
Yeah. So here you go. I mean, it's one of those things where
Creekview may squib it to keep it out of the hands of Fair and Bohannon.
I think that's probably what they'll do right here. And they may, you don't know. Depends on how you feel your best chance to score is. If they squib it, you might just want to smother it, or fall on it and then let your offense set up a play. But they may have something here special teams-wise that
controlled chaos.
Yep.
So here we go. 6 seconds left. Long wait. Whistles finally blow. The weight of this play. Toe meets leather, and it's a squib right up the middle. An Eagle falls on it, pitches it back. It's a hook and ladder play. Pitches it over, and
they're going to say, I think the original guy's knee was down. So, yep, I think he reached down to pick up the ball there off the ground to lateral it, which it would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. He had a lot of room.
He had some room there, but I think they're going to mark this one down, and they'll put 2 seconds back on the clock, I think, as well.
So here we go.
Regardless of whether they do or not, it's still going to be the last play of the game, barring a penalty.
It's the last play of the game. So whatever Coach Kemper has in his book of tricks from 26 years in the head coaching profession, hey, Dave, 26 years, who knows? The referees blowing their whistle, calling everybody in. Time to get rolling. Creekview in a prevent defense. They're only going to send 3, 4 in the second level, and then 3 in the deepest level, playing at about the 20 to 25-yard line. And just keep in mind, the ball has been placed at the 36-yard line for the Eagles.
Crazier things have happened, that's for sure. But I like Creekview's odds right here. The Grizzlies, again, very disciplined all night long defensively. Let's see what happens here.
It's the play. It's a bootleg. They still have pressure already. And it's thrown to Recksteiner, and it's incomplete. And that's the ball game. The Grizzlies have taken the victory with a last-minute victory. Wow. So the last play of the game for the Grizzlies was a touchdown. Coach Williams trying to keep everybody under control. Controlled chaos. There'll be no handshakes at the end of this game. Only a wave. Social distancing. So we'll send it to a 2-minute break. When we come back, we're going to welcome you to the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show. Your final score in this one, the Creekview Grizzlies 14 and the Etowah Eagles 13. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID, everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet, we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the furniture store in Akron, Hiram, Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
I want to make sure that your money outlives you and that you don't outlive your money. Hi, I'm Dave Garner, your local Woodman Life representative. When I'm not broadcasting, I'm doing my best as a poverty prevention specialist to help protect families from financial hardship. Call or visit me online today and see how I can help you and your family stay protected through needs-based life insurance and retirement options. Insurance protection, financial security. That's Woodman Life, standing strong for over 130 years.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Welcome back to Eagle Hill. You are listening to WLJA, the Cherokee County Game of the Week. Welcome into the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show, folks. I'm your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside Diamond Dave Garner, the golden voice of the broadcast, and touchdown, Von Brown. We'll go ahead and give it back to him for the end of this game. Listen here, folks. It was a 14-13 game, about as exciting of an ending as you can have. Of course, the Grizzlies leaving happy in this one, which we said going in has been the history of the Grizzlies with the best winning percentage in all of the county. They will maintain that record. It wasn't up for debate tonight anyway. But Coach Kemper has a lot to build on after his first game, keeping the explosive Creekview offense only to 14 points. Coach Williams has a lot to go off of, keeping the Etowah Eagles only to 13 points. But, guys, let's talk about it. There's been a lot of excitement. Everybody can take a deep breath now. We know what's going on. We know what's happened. but what an exciting day of high school football. Welcome back to 2020.
Well, Creekview saved their best for last. We talked about it. It just was a game of ups and downs. We talked about offense or a lack thereof, and it really neither team really settled into a rhythm offensively here tonight. You look at the final score and kind of tell that, but when the game was on the line, the experience I think for Creekview paid off in the end there. They made the plays inside the last few seconds, scoring with 6 seconds left to win the first ever meeting between these two. But, if you're Etowah, you come away with this game. I know their heads are down. This crowd kind of filing out a little bit dejected, but you got to feel pretty good. I mean, you've had a coaching change in the offseason, philosophical changes on both sides of the ball. You've lost, Dalton Miller, your starting quarterback for the last few years. You come in with two guys that have never really taken, a varsity snap, and they come in here against a very good Creekview football team and nearly win it, and I know coaches aren't into, moral victories. Players aren't into moral victories, but, definitely something that looking, down the road and looking ahead, if you're Etowah, you can take some positives from this game, and you learn from that. You got a young team that's going to learn from a game like this. You got a great jumping-off point now, really, if you're Etowah. For Creekview, same thing. It's kind of a wake-up call. It's like, hey, guys, we didn't come in here, dominate this game, like maybe a lot of folks thought we would, but I'm impressed with the talent. I think maybe they had to be a little conservative in spots because the field position tonight was just horrible, really for Creekview, but they were able to overcome that late in the ball game. When the game was on the line and they needed a drive, they got one. And, of course, some creative play calling down the stretch. The coach and staff opened up a little bit, and they were kind of able to wear down that Etowah defense a little bit as Etowah was able to wear down them, of course, early in the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, even with the field position advantage in the first half, Etowah just really couldn't move the ball. It looked like Creekview was the better team. So I think the disappointment comes from all of a sudden you're down and it didn't look like you had much chance to move the ball. They finally find a way to do that, take advantage of the field position, and all of a sudden you have a lead and a chance to win this game. And your defense, and you see it a lot, your defense just can't get that stop. The 4th and 1, the other 4th and 1 where they had the personal foul. So you had chances. You needed one stop. You couldn't quite get it. I think for Creekview, I think Trevor will be very encouraged about the way they were able to run the ball behind that young offensive line, establish that run maybe without Brody having to do the brunt of that work. Tyler Stevens, he's the next Cade Radham being able to fall forward. But I think the concern would be even with that established run game in the first half and being able to move the ball on the ground, you never got any comfort in that passing game. I never saw Brody just sit back there comfortable. And that maybe that's just being able to look at an Etowah defense that's better than maybe that even looked at from up here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Tyler Stevens is our Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet player of the game, so congratulations to that young man. Of course, the play of the game, if we had that, would have to be the play that Creekview won the game on, and that was the rollout bootleg pass over to Tyler Stevens for the victory. Of course, as we mentioned, the Grizzlies win this one 14-13. Looking on down the road, guys, this is not the only game in the county, and there was a lot of excitement in the county. So if we can turn our attention away from this thriller here at the end, we obviously want to talk about the Wolverines' victory over the Chiefs as well as the River Ridge Knights' victory over the Lassiter Trojans. Let's start with the other inter-county matchup. That's Sequoia and Woodstock. Obviously, Woodstock taking the victory away from Sequoia from Skip Pope Stadium. Guys, how do you feel about this Woodstock-Sequoia team moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like both teams had great success on the ground. We expect that from Sequoia, that wing T, Jaden Mitchell and Aiden Moore. We knew they were going to ground it. It did sound like when they needed to, they had success in the air, and it sounded like Matthew Traynor was that guy leading that offense under center. I don't know if Matthew, with Connor Gillette, was able to get on the field tonight, but it sounded like both had a lot of success on the ground. I don't know what that says about the defenses, but David Daniel made some big plays in that game. Sebastian Moss gets the pick 6 at the end to kind of put that thing away. But, I don't know how encouraged they would be with their defenses because they let both sides just kind of ground it down on them. But Woodstock does come away with a 41-35 lead.
Yeah, and I mean, going into that game, we kind of felt like off air, it was going to be kind of a close ball game between those two. And, there's just so many unknowns, again, coming in to the first week of the season, and you've got these two inter-county teams. None of these teams that we've seen, as we've talked about, have had a preseason or any kind of a 7-on-7 or anything like that. And so it was just a crazy week to start things out with. But impressed with the way Woodstock came out. One team we just didn't really feel like, I didn't feel like I had a good handle on really was Woodstock. And how are they going to come out on the road in the first game playing within the county like that? And, man, they stepped up. But, I didn't really expect Sequoia to be able to score that many points. I think the most impressive thing about that ball game to me was, Sequoia being able to put up the points they did, because I think it was kind of felt like, that they would maybe struggle a little bit offensively. And they're not a – when you run the types of offense that Sequoia does, it's not really a come from behind. You're not built to really play from behind. You're meant to kind of get a lead and sit on a little bit. So the fact that they were able to put up into the, the 30s, I guess, tonight, or what have you. I mean, that says a lot about Sequoia's ability to be able to put up points. Or Woodstock, needs work on defense. One of the two or a little bit of both. But I think it'll be interesting moving forward. I can't wait to see Sequoia next week against Cherokee, because the dynamics of that game, I think, are going to lend itself. Obviously, you got to feel like with Cherokee's performance, a lot of folks around the state and the area are going to probably have them as a favorite over Sequoia, certainly. But you see Sequoia putting up 35 points against another fellow 7A team that's in Cherokee's, region like Woodstock is, and you start to wonder, well, maybe they can go in there to Tommy Baker and give him a game next week.
We'll preview that after our first break. Of course, we want to get back to our other team, which is the River Ridge Knights over Lassiter. Wow. I mean, Amir Morrison, we knew what he was going to do, but Jackson Head having a big game, Carson Latham having a big game, a lot of big names that are going to become household this year. I'm really excited about this River Ridge team. Guys, how we feeling?
I mean, the fan base over there is confident. Coach Collins has brought a new attitude in there, and they're kind of walking around with his swagger. I mean, Amir Morrison's going to be the best player on the field most nights, and we said if they find those compliments and can put points on the board, and I think their defense, they did hold. They held, under 20 points is what we said one of the keys to the game was. We felt like if they held Lassiter in the teens, under 20, they had a really good shot. We didn't know Amir Morrison was going to come out and break records tonight, and he ran all over them. And so, they face Woodstock next week, and it'll be interesting to see if, what the point situation is there, because Woodstock had trouble slowing Sequoia tonight.
Yep, definitely. And River Ridge is that team that obviously has a lot of, optimism, I guess, coming into camp, as we talked about in the kickoff show, a couple weeks ago. And just, to have a guy like Amir Morrison, as we talked about, that you can kind of build your offense around, says a lot. But I'm really excited about their defense, because I think that, we kind of know at this point they're going to be able to put some points on the board, presumably, on any given night, because of the weapons that they have even outside of Morrison, as you talked about, Jackson Head and some of those guys. But I think defensively is where this team's going to stand out. I think they only lost, one or two guys defensively. I mean, they've brought back just about everybody on that side of the football. So, you're putting up, you're averaging 28, 35 points a game offensively, like they have the ability to do, and all of a sudden you've got an experienced defense. That's a recipe for success for River Ridge, and all of a sudden they may very well be that team that's the surprise team this year, not only in Cherokee County, but in North Georgia for that matter.
We're excited to see him. We'll see him in just a couple weeks, but when we come back, we'll talk about where we're going to be next week, as Dave already ruined that for you. So stick with us. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM, the Sosby Funeral Home Postgame Show.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Victoria speaking for Woodstock Furniture Outlet and Woodstock Mattress Stores.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. Now we know during post-COVID, everybody's raising their prices, not us. And at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet, we have the best 0% interest-free financing available. Come and see us at the Furniture Store in Akworth, Hiram, and Rome, and come and see our mattress-only stores in Canton, Kennesaw, and Douglasville, and get the best savings.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you. ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
When you read Enjoy Cherokee magazine, you'll find features about interesting people, pleasing places, and exciting events. Find out more about shopping in Canton, dining in Woodstock, living in Holly Springs, exploring in Ball Ground. There's always some new and refreshing ideas between the pages of Enjoy Cherokee. Enjoy Cherokee is available in most high-traffic locations and mailed free to thousands of homes throughout Cherokee County. For your free subscription, check us out on Facebook and find past issues on EnjoyCherokee.com. Enjoy Cherokee, Cherokee County's favorite magazine.
To the Sosby Funeral Home post-game show. You're listening to WLJA 101.1 FM. Braves fans, I promise that as soon as we wrap up, we'll send you back over to that game. I want to send a big thank you to Asa Smokestacks Jones back on Master Controls, making us sound so good. Guys, next week we will be back at Tommy Baker Field where we were on Wednesday. And good news from them is that it sounds like A.J. Swan, Keith Adams Jr. will both be ready to go. So we'll see the best of both teams. So Sequoia coming in after dropping a close game to Woodstock, 35 points, which, Dave, you mentioned, one of our big issues with Sequoia for the past few years has been their lack of big play ability, and now it looks like they might have that back this year. So, guys, what are you looking forward to next week?
Well, I think, obviously with the type of offense that Sequoia runs, it doesn't always necessarily lend itself to big plays. That's not really the big part of the game. I mean, you do have some athletes that can execute and so forth, but for the most part, I mean, it's a game that, to me, kind of looks like what played out here tonight. I mean, it's sort of that ground and pound, eat up the clock, eat up the yardage. Cherokee, as we know, is kind of the opposite of that. They've got a guy that can throw it all over the lot, and they've got skill position guys everywhere. So I think really in that ball game you look at it and you got two totally different dynamics, as we've seen. It's one of the longest, rivalries, of course, in Cherokee County, and it's always a fun game. Cherokee had the upper hand, last year, and Sequoia is a team, as we thought might struggle a little bit offensively, but I think they showed us tonight that they certainly have the ability to put up points, as they did against Woodstock. And we know what kind of team we feel like Cherokee has. We know they can put up points in a hurry, as they did in the second half of that game on Wednesday night. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think personally the game will be as explosive point-wise. I think it'll be a little bit low-scoring game if I had to go ahead and throw it out there right now, But who knows? My thought may change, as the week goes on. But I think it'll be it's an intriguing ball game to me in a lot of ways. I know, again, a lot of people are probably going to have Cherokee picked just simply because of the eyeballs they had in the Corky Kell and the eye test. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Sequoia team go into Tommy Baker next week and give him a game.
I disagree. I think it'll be low scoring on one side. I just think that Cherokee defense is for the second year in a row very special based on what we saw them do against Carver. For Woodstock to go put 41 on Sequoia, we didn't expect Woodstock to necessarily have a high-powered offense, with two quarterbacks, and they did it on the ground. So, looking at how they did it and running it down their throats with Keith Adams Jr. coming right back at you next week for Sequoia, I think Cherokee's going to have a much more comfortable passing game that Sequoia's going to have to account for. So I think that Cherokee score might go high, but I really do think that Cherokee defense is special. I don't think you can be one-dimensional against them, and we saw them kind of do what they wanted to against Carver, who had a ton of athletes and could take it to the house. Now, Jaden Mitchell is that great equalizer. He's, that Amir Morrison type that can put him on his shoulder and do special things for Sequoia, but I do think it's going to be lopsided. I don't think Sequoia is going to be able to move the ball on them at will.
We'll have to wait and see. That's what it's all about. Thank you for being with us. This has been the great first Friday night in all of high school football. Folks, we're so excited to be back. We're excited that you chose us to spend your Friday night with. We're going to send it back over to Ace of Spades on Master Controls, and we're going to send it off from there. We'll see you next Friday night. Once again, the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta show begins at 7 o'clock. We'll be at Tommy Baker Field for the Cherokee Warriors as they host the Sequoia Chiefs in the Battle of Native American Heritage in Cherokee County. For Dave Garner, Vaughn Brown, Will Cooper, Ace of Spades, Master Controls, we'll see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.
Join WLJA's play-by-play announcer, A's 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 play-by-play